Chapter 530. The stars outside the window were sparse and the room was silent. A ray of light suddenly appeared in the boundless darkness. Ling Yi stared at the lamp in shock and suddenly felt a lump in his throat. Immediately afterwards, a warm and soft, little Shiji was stuffed into his arms. The little Shiba Inu was still in a daze. It opened its moist eyes and tilted its head in bewilderment. Woof! Little Shiji is very obedient. Can it accompany you? The girl's voice was gentle and sweet, just like the sound of nature in the middle of the night. I read a paper previously that said that pets can effectively relieve anxiety and tension. Ling Ye's Adam's apple moved and he had a hard time suppressing his coughs. His voice was hoarse as he said, "Thank you. You're welcome." Xiangyi looked at him calmly without any discrimination. Instead, she asked, "Do you need me to close the door?" She didn't ask him to be normal, be strong, or get better. However, for the first time, Ling Yi felt that he was respected. He heard himself murmuring in a broken voice, "Sister, can you not leave?" Before Xiangyi could answer, the beautiful and exquisite young man said self-deprecatingly, "How am I worthy?" He curled his fingers and said, "I'm sorry, sister." Xiangyi's eyelashes fluttered, and she pointed in the direction of the bookshelf. "I'll leave a gap for you, and then I'll read outside. If you're afraid, you can knock on the door twice. If I hear you, I'll knock on the bookshelf twice. Okay?" Ling Yi looked at her in disbelief. He didn't even know if he had nodded or not. By the time he recovered from the shock, darkness had enveloped his vision again. The difference was that there was a chubby Shiba Inu in his arms that was rubbing against his chest and exposing its belly for him to stroke. Beside him was a small night light. It was dim and weak, but it resisted the boundless darkness and stubbornly crushed the glimmer of light. Through the gap in the door, he could see that the light on the bookshelf seemed to be fatally attractive. For a moment, Ling Yi suddenly understood why moths were destined to fly to the fire. The dazzling light was where one's heart was. He tried to test it by gently knocking on the door twice, but he quickly retracted his hand. He was afraid that she wouldn't hear him, but he was also afraid that she would. He was conflicted and tangled. A few seconds later, the steady and calm sound of knuckles hitting the solid wood bookshelf came from outside the door. All the chaos and pain seemed to have been paused at this moment. Ling Ye's heart raced as he clenched his fists. The system sensed his abnormality and remained silent. Temporary salvation was still salvation. At least at this moment, the host was happy. Xiangyi was so engrossed in flipping through the book that she didn't notice a shadow beside her, until the shadow could no longer hold back and tugged at the corner of her clothes. "Elder sister." Xiangyi looked in the direction of the voice and discovered that Ling Yi had unknowingly sat cross-legged on the floor. His beautiful face was looking up at her without blinking. "What's the matter?" Xiangyi frowned. "The floor is cold. Get up. My sister cares about me." This realization made Ling Yi both excited and pained. "Sister, can I always stay by your side?" "Sister, I will be very obedient." "Sister." The last word was said in a nasal tone. It sounded like he was acting coquettishly, but more like he was pleading. Xiangyi said indifferently, "Ling Yi, don't lose yourself. You should go home." Hearing this, Ling Yi suddenly smiled bitterly. He said, "Sister, not everyone wants to go home." Chapter 531. Xiangyi was slightly taken aback. Ling Yi looked up at her and said in a hoarse voice, "Sister, do you know that no one will wait for me to come home? No one." Suddenly, he could smell the fruity scent of citrus. Xiangyi squatted down in front of him. "It's okay. After you complete all the missions, you can choose a world to stay in." "Can I choose sister's world?" As soon as the young man finished speaking, his expression suddenly changed. His face turned pale as if he had lost all his vitality in an instant. Ling Ye's lips were moving and his eyes were dilated. He seemed to be talking to the system in his mind. Xiangyi could vaguely hear a few words. Impossible. You betrayed me? Even you betrayed me. If it's not you, who else could it be?" Boom! The young man fell to the ground. Xiang Yi quickly went to check on him. Sister, Ling Yi called out for the last time. He tried to grab Xiang Yi's hand, but it fell to the ground before he could even touch the corner of her clothes. Late at night, at the hospital, Xiang Yi was sitting on a bench in the corridor. Her eyes were empty and she was in a daze. A man's jacket suddenly appeared on her thin and slender shoulders. It was stained with his scent. Ling Yi is awake, Shui said. Do you want to go and see him? Xiang Yi collected her thoughts and nodded. She walked to the door of the emergency room. Through the transparent glass, her gaze fell on the unconscious young man. However, she felt as if she was looking at another person. She suddenly stopped in her tracks. After a while, Xiang Yi looked down. It's good that he's fine. However, there was no need to look at him anymore. This was because this Ling Yi was no longer Ling Yi. Where did he go? What happened? Was he still alive? Xiang Yi sighed. She told herself not to think about it, but she still couldn't control herself. Her fingers were suddenly held. His slender fingers went through her hand and interlocked with hers. Sister E, I'm here. Okay. Xiang Yi replied and rested her forehead on his shoulder. Boyfriend, lend me your shoulder. Shui noticed the change in Song Yunxuan's mood. Seeing that Song Yunxian didn't want to say more, he didn't ask any more questions. He just patted Song Yunxuan's back gently with his other hand. A moment later, Xiang Yi adjusted her mood. Boyfriend, let's go home. The word go home poked the soft corner of the man's heart. He looked gentle. Okay, listen to Sister E. Before he left, he glanced at Ling Yi, who was in the emergency room. His long and narrow eyes suddenly narrowed. Was Sister Yi's body also swapped in the same way? That night, chaos ensued. First, Ling Yi suddenly fainted and was sent to the hospital. Tianji AI was impatient and drove to the hospital in the middle of the night, but an accident happened. The next morning, the news that Tianji and his disciple were both hospitalized spread on the internet. Qin Wanyan had never imagined that she would be called out and scolded because of this. The reason the netizens scolded her was that she was a jinx. Qin Wanyan was trembling with anger. Why? Why? She was the chosen one. The little system coaxed her for a long time, but she scolded it back. It didn't dare to say anything for a long time. Suddenly, the small system exclaimed, Host, the main system has detected that there is a problem with the assisting attacker. The assisting attacker has been erased, and a new task has been assigned to you. If you complete it, there will be a generous reward. Hearing the word reward, Qin Wanyan was delighted. What mission? Target the CEO of Xingchun Entertainment, Xiang Feng. Chapter 532. Achoo? Xiang Feng, who was standing in front of the floor-to-ceiling window with his new assistant's cup of black coffee, sneezed for the 6th time that morning. He took a sip of the coffee, which was so hot that his facial features were twitching. F***CK. It's so hot. What the hell is this? It tastes awful. The assistant was so scared that her face turned pale and her legs trembled uncontrollably. Was this hard-won job going to be gone just like that? The next second, the handsome, charming, and domineering CEO said in a low voice, Miss Lee, right? I have something to trouble you with. Assistant Lee's teeth chattered. You. Go downstairs to the trash. Ahem, the fast food restaurant and pack a cup of soy milk for me. Remember to bring a bag of white sugar. Assistant Lee was stunned. Mr. Xiang, the soy milk in the fast food restaurant doesn't seem to be ground, but made with soy milk powder. It's not very healthy. Xiang Feng was confused. I'm already eating trash. Why would I care about my health? Assistant Lee, ? By the way, why is your face so dirty? Next time, wash your face clean before coming to work. Xiang Feng used his own face as an example and pointed at his chin, cheekbones, and nose. This, and this. You're a city beauty after all, you have to pay attention to your image. Assistant Lee, if she remembered correctly, these spots were the makeup she used to modify the shape of her face, right? How did it become that she didn't wash her face? Also, your nose is red from the cold. Is it that cold? Lower the temperature of the air conditioner later. Assistant Lee. She wasn't cold. She had deliberately applied blush to the tip of her nose to create a pitiful feeling. Okay? Don't catch a cold. Assistant Lee was feeling touched when she heard Xiang Feng take a few steps back with a vigilant expression. It won't be good if you spread it to me. Assistant Lee. She finally understood why Mr. Xiang was still single. At the manor. Perhaps because she caught a cold last night. Xiangyi also sneezed twice when she woke up for her morning exercise. She didn't take it seriously and was about to practice a set of sword techniques when she heard a loud roar. Xiangyi! The little girl was so frightened that her hand trembled and she almost dropped her sword. She turned her head in confusion, but the moment she saw who it was, her expression was replaced by joy. Brother! The girl bounced towards Xiang Qi, but was shouted at by Xiang Qi. Stop! Don't move! Xiangyi stopped and looked at him in confusion. Tall and well-proportioned, the man, who could instantly outshine countless models, strode forward as if he was walking on a catwalk, full of aura. He took off his long windbreaker and covered the girl's head with it. Xiangyi opened her mouth, but before she could say anything, she heard third brother say fiercely, I'm telling you, I'm angry. It was super cool. It's best that you remain silent. As he spoke, he nimbly helped Xiangyi put on the windbreaker. The girl wasn't short, but the man's windbreaker was still too big for her. It almost reached her ankles. Xiang Qi put his hands on his waist. Who allowed you to sneeze? I'm telling you, you're not allowed to hit me. You have to be healthy. Xiangyi only found it funny. Why was third brother like a primary school student? You're still laughing? What are you laughing at? What's so funny? Xiangyi blinked. Can I speak now? The most handsome, and best brother in the universe. Whoosh! Xiang Qi's ears turned red in a second, but he pretended to be calm. What did you say? I've been a little deaf recently. I have to say it a few more times to hear it clearly. Chapter 533. Xiangyi smiled and said, Brother, you're the most handsome and dashing. Xiang Qi said, Go on. I'm still deaf. Before she could finish her sentence, a cold voice came from behind her. Sister, what am I then? See, Brother Xiang. Xiangyi looked at her fourth brother, who was wearing a black sportswear. The young man was holding a huge and gorgeous trophy in his hand. His expression was cold and his hair was messy. He looked like he had rushed here after a long journey. Xiangyi quickly changed her words. Brother Xiang, you love me the most. The next second, a gentle and elegant voice sounded. Tutu, I'll be sad if you say that. Xiangyi, Brother Xiang was here too. She swallowed her saliva and felt like she was in an anime. Brother Xiang is the best. In the next second. Oh, really? It was as if he was shaking off a handful of snow on a distant mountain. The man's voice seemed to have a magnetic field that attracted people. It was her eldest brother, Sanction. Xiangyi was scared and hid behind Brother Xiang, who was closest to her. Brother Xiang hid behind Brother Xiang, and Brother Xiang hid behind Brother Xiang. It was as if an eagle was trying to catch a chick. At this moment, Xiang Li was the mother chick and Sanction was the ferocious eagle. Sanction had obviously just gotten off the plane as well. However, he always looked like an elite with neat clothes and neat hair. He adjusted his snow-white sleeves and looked past the crowd. His gaze landed on Xiangyi. He walked closer to her slowly. Xiangyi was so scared that she closed her eyes. After a while, she felt a weight on her shoulder. She opened her eyes slightly and found that Big Brother expressionlessly draped a suit jacket over her windbreaker. She said softly, Brother Xiang, I'm not cold. Sanction said, You're cold. Xiangyi was forced to follow her brother's deep and lonely eyes. I'm cold. Sanction rubbed her little head. You have to wear more clothes in the morning. Sanction was gentle to his younger sister. He was not so polite to his other younger brothers. He looked around, and everyone who came into contact with his gaze couldn't help but stand up straighter. Are all of you very free? Everyone obediently answered Xiang Chen's question like elementary school students. Fourth bro Xiang Yu said weakly, I just finished my match. The team gave us 2 days off. Third brother Xiang Qi whistled guiltily. I'm a freelancer, so I'm always free. The second son, Xiang Li, adjusted his glasses. I'm tired from the research, so I came back to relax. It's important to strike a balance between work and rest. Sanction nodded in response. As if he had sensed something, his gaze suddenly shot towards a certain direction. That sharp gaze invisibly pierced through the air, crushed through the thin mist, and finally fixed on a certain spot. Shi Sui was wearing a gray hoodie. She looked clean and fresh, like a college student. He held a thermos in his hand, and under Sangchen's gaze, he walked towards Xiang Yi. Sister E, have some hot water. Xiang Yi took it and naturally thanked him. Thank you, boyfriend. Before she finished speaking, she was the first to react. She wanted to cover her mouth, but it was too late. It was too late for her to regret it. She didn't expect that Shi Sui's words would cause all the hatred to be directed at her. Girlfriend, you're welcome. Sangchen rolled up his sleeves. Xiang Li took off his silver-rimmed glasses. Xiang Qi bent down and began to take off his shoes. Xiang Yu's hand holding the trophy was restless. The air was filled with the smell of gunpowder. But Shi Sui still calmly blinked her eyes and smiled at the Xiang brothers. Brothers, good morning. Chapter 534. The man's tone was languid and familiar, with a hint of coquettishness that was hard to ignore. The Xiang brothers? That D***M man is so arrogant. Xiang Qi cursed and nudged Xiang Yu with his elbow. Fourth brother, take his trophy and smack him on the head. The young esports god's face was cold and aloof. Don't think he didn't know that third brother was trying to trick him. Hit him with your shoe. Xiang Yu wasn't going to fall for it. Xiang Qi. Wasn't that because he didn't dare? Shi Sui and Sangchen were the same age. If Xiang Yu was the demon king who dominated everyone, then Shi Sui was the second demon king who smiled beside the demon king. He could talk, but Xiang Qi didn't dare to fight at all. Do you want to go for a run? Xiang Yi tried to get Shi Sui to leave this hellish place. Here, a towel. The young girl handed over a towel. It was obviously a soft and pink towel for girls to use. Shi Sui took it and slowly draped it around her neck. Her movements seemed to be 0.5 times faster than normal. Thank you, Sister E. The Xiang brothers? How can you tolerate this? Xiang Qi continued to fan the flames. Xiang Yu gritted his teeth and stuffed the trophy into third brother's hands. Hold it for me. He zipped up his team uniform and walked over to Shi Sui expressionlessly. Run? Let's do it together. Xiang Yi wanted to stop him, but third brother grabbed her by the collar and she flailed her arms and legs like a little chick. Fourth brother, don't bully people. Although Xiang Yu was a professional esports player, he wasn't the type who neglected sports. On the contrary, he had excellent physical fitness and even ran a marathon during his vacation last month. Shi Sui was such a delicate man. How could she outrun fourth brother? A certain movie king didn't know that his image in Xiang Yi's heart had collapsed. He chuckled and agreed. Okay, 3 kilometers then. Heh, 5 kilometers. Xiang Yu sneered and moved his wrists and ankles. His tone was tinged with the arrogance of a young man. You can run first. If Smog's fans were together, they would probably scream in unison. That was too arrogant. But it also made people feel cool. Xiang Qi didn't mind blowing things up. He put his finger to his mouth and whistled loudly. Ready, let's go. 2 figures, one black and one gray, gradually disappeared. Xiang Yi was on tenterhooks, afraid that Shi Sui would run out of breath or force himself to continue running when he couldn't run anymore. The little girl's emotions were in a mess as she paced back and forth on the same spot. Xiang Chen and the others were calm as they sat down at the stone table and chairs in the courtyard. Xiang Qi even made tea for his big brother like a lackey. However, after tasting it, Xiang Chen frowned. Although he didn't say anything, he didn't touch it again. Bun, can I trouble you to make a few cups of coffee? Xiang Li asked warmly. The restless girl nodded absent-mindedly and went back to her room to prepare. As soon as she left, Sangshan's aura became even colder. Even Xiang Li couldn't resist it. Tutu has really grown up. Xiang Li sighed. Sangshan sneered. She's just bewitched by a honey trap. The younger ones in the Xiang family hadn't seen Shi Sui's true colors, but he had. People who came out of the darkness were not cloaked in light, but in a mask. Xiang Qi's brain twitched and he blurted out, I think it's better to let it go. We're worried that Xiang Yu's feelings will be played by a man. The solution is simple. Let Xiang Yu play with a man's feelings. For a moment, Sangshan and Xiang Li looked at Xiang Yu with very similar eyes. They looked silly. Chapter 535. Xiang Qi said confidently, I think what I said makes a lot of sense. Why are you guys looking at me like that? It's like I'm brainless. Xiang Li. You have. Sangshan. You have. Xiang Qi. Very good, that hurt. Your logic is equivalent to turning Tutu into a scumbag to prevent Tutu from meeting a scumbag. Xiang Li clicked his tongue. You have the same genes, but I can't understand how you can be so stupid. Xiang Qi. He was just making a suggestion. Why did it turn into a personal attack? As they spoke, Xiang Yi came out with a coffee pot and poured everyone a cup. The aroma of the hand-brewed coffee filled the air, mellow and slightly bitter. Xiang Chen's brows visibly relaxed as he picked up the glass and sipped from it. Xiang Li praised, Tutu's cooking has improved again. Hey, they're back. They're back. Xiang Qi's sharp eyes spotted the two running back. It was different from how Xiang Yi imagined Shi Sui to be weak and unable to run. The man's expression was calm and his breathing was even. Only his forehead was sweating slightly. Fourth brother Xiang Yu was as tired as a dead dog. He was panting heavily and sweating profusely as he struggled to keep up with him. The girl's milky white face was blank. Was her boyfriend's stamina this good? Xiang Li and Sangshan were still able to maintain their composure, but Xiang Qi had lost control of his expression. He looked at Shi Sui with horror in his eyes. What the F***ck? That scumbag is so strong. Shi Sui stopped in her tracks as if she was deliberately showing off. She took the towel that Xiang Yi gave her and slowly wiped her sweat. Xiang Yu bent over and held his knees. He felt like his heart had never been this fast even during the World Series. The two of them did run 5 kilometers, but normal people only accelerated in the last few hundred meters. Shi Sui ran at least 2 kilometers with him. 2 kilometers. Who could withstand this? His physical strength was quickly depleting. On the other hand, Shi Sui looked as if nothing had happened. Xiang Yu suspected that he could continue running. What a freak. Too perverse. Brother, are you tired? Shi Sui's question rang in his ears and Xiang Yu shuddered. Brother Shi, don't call me brother. How can I do that? I am Sister Yi's boyfriend. Of course, I have to follow how Sister Yi calls me brother. Shi Sui grabbed a new towel and wiped Xiang Yu's sweat in a friendly manner. She even handed him a bottle of sports drink. Big brother, you work so hard playing esports every day, but you're also very good at sports. Xiang Yu, although these words were embarrassing, but it feels so good. For a boy to be praised by an older brother whom he had admired since he was a child, this was undoubtedly a huge recognition. Not only that, but Shi Sui also added, I don't know if Xiao Naofu has woken up yet. It seems to have gained weight recently. Its face is round and its belly is soft. Whoosh. Xiang Yu couldn't help but clench his fists. It's not fat. Brother Shi, don't call it fat. It'll be sad if it hears it. Sorry, it was a slip of the tongue. Shi Sui looked innocent. It's not fat, it's just furry. Xiang Yu's furry instincts kicked in and he lost all reason. He no longer felt tired and rushed into the living room, looking everywhere for Xiao Naofu. Mimi. Shi Sui looked at Xiang Yi and sneered silently. Xiang Yi. She suddenly realized that her boyfriend seemed to be a little black-bellied? Chapter 536. A certain best actor who had successfully obtained the first blood said in a gentle and harmless manner, Brothers, you must be tired from the long journey. It's time for breakfast. Xiangqi thought he had discovered a blind spot and stood up abruptly. How dare you order my sister to make breakfast? There's no rule in the Xiang family to order girls around. Although Xiangyi was a good cook, the Xiang family didn't really let her cook much. Even if she cooked or washed the dishes, these chores were all done by the men. Xiangyi coughed and said embarrassedly, Sure Sui has been cooking recently. Her hand injury wasn't actually very serious, but Sure Sui treated her like a child who couldn't take care of herself and didn't let her touch pots and pans at all. Xiangyi's hands were itching. She couldn't wait to pick up a big pot and toss it a few dozen times. Xiangqi didn't expect this answer. He was silent for 2 seconds and fully displayed the strength of a debater. Isn't it natural for boys to do housework? It's already so late and you still haven't let our tutu eat breakfast. Do you want her to starve? In Xiangyi's eyes, this scene was very much like a bossy, evil mother-in-law reprimanding a humble daughter-in-law in a TV series. The little girl gently tugged at his sleeve. Brother, don't be so fierce to him. Sure Sui timely answered. I'm fine, Sister E. Brother is right. I'll go make breakfast now. Xiangyi looked at Sure Sui. The man's long eyelashes just happened to be lowered, looking weak and docile. There's no rule in our family that boys eat at the table. The two looked at each other. Sure Sui seemed to reluctantly raise the corners of his mouth. Then he quickly took a shower and began to busy himself in the kitchen. The rice cooker had cooked the porridge on time in advance. Sure Sui cooked 2 home-cooked dishes with pickled vegetables and salted duck eggs. It looked quite a sumptuous meal. He laid out the dishes and was about to sit down when Xiangqi came out to nitpick again. There's no rule in our family that boys eat at the table. Xiangyi's eyes widened. Since when did our family have such a rule? And big brother, you're also a boy. Xiangqi added. Boys other than my brother. She really hated her mother-in-law. Sure Sui said in a low voice. Whatever my brother says. You guys enjoy your meal. I'll just go to the side and eat something. As he spoke, he took a bowl of porridge and moved to a small stool at the side. He obediently held the bowl and drank it in small mouthfuls. She was really weak, helpless, and pitiful. Those who heard this scene were heartbroken, and those who heard it shed tears. Xiangyi couldn't hold it in any longer. She sat down beside Sure Sui with a bowl of porridge in her hand. She accompanied her silently to protest against her third brother's feudal tyranny. Here, the duck egg yolks are for you. The girl gave all her duck egg yolks to Sure Sui. Sure Sui declined. Sister E, don't worry about me. Go back and have dinner with my brothers. I can't watch you suffer like this. It's okay for me to suffer a little. Hearing the conversation between the two, Xiangqi was completely baffled. XM, he just wanted to bully Sure Sui, that bastard. Why did he push his sister to him? By the way, Sister E, I accidentally tore your apron. Sure Sui sighed. That's the one and only apron that my brother made for you. I'm sorry. I'll try to sew it up later. Xiangqi was listening to their conversation. When he heard this, he became anxious. You can't sew it up. Where's the apron? I'll do it. Chapter 537. Brother, it's okay. I can stitch too. Although I'm not good at it, I'll try my best. A certain best actor started to speak. Xiangqi was furious. How dare you touch my work when you know that you're not good at it? Xiangqi could tolerate it in other aspects, but when it came to his own work, he was particular about excellence and impeccable. He could even be called a perfectionist. Sure Sui looked like a punching bag. Brother, I was wrong. Xiangqi said aggressively. Let me tell you, it's my job to stitch things for my sister. Don't even think about snatching it from me. Don't even think about it in this lifetime. In this world, I'm the only one who can make the most beautiful little dress for my sister. I'm so envious of Sister E for having such a good brother like you. This sentence accurately hit Xiangqi's heart. He cleared his throat and suddenly felt that Sure Sui was much more pleasing to the eye. Well, it was all right. Anyway, with his handicapped skills, he definitely wouldn't be able to threaten his position in his sister's heart. At this thought, Xiangqi suddenly felt relieved. He glanced at Shi Sui from the corner of his eyes like a king looking at bronze. Then, he put his hands in his pockets and hummed a tune as he went to stitch up the little apron for his sister. Xiangyi was dumbfounded by his actions. This works too? Hashtag what should I do if I suddenly find out that my boyfriend is black? Hashtag Xiang Yu and Xiang Qi were taken down one after another. Xiang Li and Sangchen looked on coldly from the sidelines. These two intelligent men naturally wouldn't be bewitched by Shi Sui's little tricks. Shi Sui wasn't in a hurry. After finishing her porridge, she took the initiative to clean up the table. She even pretended to wash all the dishes by hand without using the dishwasher. It could be said that she was virtuous to the extreme. Xiang Li said, "It's just an act." Sangchen said, "Haha." The two of them were not moved at all. However, it had to be said that this action had subtly made a good impression on them. In the living room, Xiang Yu let go of himself and hugged Xiao Naofu, kissing and sucking. Xiao Naofu revealed a forced expression. Xiang Qi skillfully sewed the small apron for his sister and took out some cloth to make a few bows for his sister's hair. Sangchen used his laptop to reply to his work emails while massaging his temples from time to time. On the other hand, Xiang Li and Xiang Li were discussing the collaboration between Little Rabbit Farm and Nanqing Research Institute. The atmosphere was quite harmonious. However, when Shi Sui walked out of the kitchen, the balance was broken. Seeing that the atmosphere was about to explode, Xiang Yi hurriedly tried to ease the tension and asked casually, "Shi Sui, who won the last Nanqing Agronomy Award? I kind of want to plant that super pumpkin he developed." Shi Sui, "Let me think." Xiang Li scoffed. "Do you still need to think about it? After all, you haven't even gone to college. It's normal that you can't answer this kind of question." The winner of the last agronomy prize was... Xiang Li was suddenly at a loss for words. The reason why geniuses were geniuses was that they had a photographic memory. However, there was a basic prerequisite for not forgetting, and that was to have a look at it. For things that they had never seen, understood, or heard of, it was impossible for geniuses to know the answer out of thin air. Xiang Li had some knowledge of pure agronomy, but he had never paid attention to the winner of the Nanqing Agronomy Award. This teacher Lin Zhengyu, right? In the almost suffocating silence, Shi Sui casually mentioned a name and then gave a speech that could be called the King of Tea. "Big brother, you're already very outstanding. It's normal for you to have blind spots in your knowledge occasionally, Xiang Li." F***CKU. Chapter 538. Shi Sui. Brother, are you angry? I'm sorry. I didn't do it on purpose. Xiang Li. I didn't. A certain actor tugged at Xiang Yi's sleeve. Sister E, brother is angry with me. It's all my fault for affecting brother's mood. Xiang Yi's heart softened. She helped to plead for him. Brother, don't be angry. Okay? Shi Sui has a point. Brother, you're too strict with yourself. Even geniuses aren't omniscient and omnipotent. Also, Shi Sui didn't go to university. It's not that he didn't want to, but he couldn't because of his family. It's wrong of him to use this to mock others. Xiang Li. He was so angry, but he had to maintain a smile. Xiang Li, who had successfully suffered a loss, adjusted his glasses with his fingers and felt a little depressed. Forget it, he admitted defeat. He had been careless. He had underestimated Tutu's feelings for this dog of a man. However, Big Brother had not made a move yet. Xiang Li smiled ambiguously and sat down on the sofa in a comfortable position, waiting for Shi Sui to be tortured by Big Brother. As expected, when Sangchen hit the last enter key, he looked up and raised his eyebrows slightly at Shi Sui. Long time no see. Do you want to exercise? Xiang Yi knew that the exercise Big Brother was talking about was definitely not the kind of exercise in the square. Without thinking, she stood in front of Shi Sui. Brother, he's very delicate. Woo-woo, don't hit him. Hit me instead. Sangchen? The others? Only Shi Sui was stunned for a few seconds before he broke into a joyful smile. The feeling of being protected by a little rabbit. It was not bad. Sangchen was expressionless. Tutu, come here. The little girl trembled. Brother, come here. The man's aura was imposing. Not only Xiangyi, but even Xiangli and the others were a little overwhelmed. Suddenly, Shui held Xiangyi's small hand as if there was no one else around and wrapped it tightly in his palm. I'll go with Sister Yi. The young girl's doe eyes lit up. Sanction. Xiangqi secretly complained, does this dog of a man really think we're dead? Xiangyu, you can't beat him. Xiangqi, tisk, that's because I don't want to make a move. You know? Xiangyu, you can't beat him. Xiangqi, as long as I get serious, even Big Brother will lose to me. Xiangyu couldn't be bothered with him and retorted, go ahead if you're so good. Xiangqi covered his mouth with his finger and coughed twice. Using violence to solve problems is a method that only low-level creatures would use to solve disputes. The next second, Sanction took off his suit jacket and threw it on the armrest of the sofa next to him. His voice was low and mellow, as cold as snow. Tutu, get out of the way. Big Brother, you can't secretly bully him in the name of activities. Xiangyi argued. You're committing the crime of intentional injury. You're wrong. I'm not secretly bullying him. Sanction rolled up his sleeves. I'm openly bullying him. Xiangyi? Shui chuckled. He let go of the little girl's hand and looked at her eyes. Close your eyes. He felt the girl's eyelashes trembling in his palm. He whispered in her ear. Let Big Brother vent his anger. I'm fine. I'm already mentally prepared to get beaten up. After all, I abducted their most cherished and beloved little rabbit. Chapter 539. Upon hearing Shui's words, Xiangyi suddenly felt a lump in her throat. Although her vision was in darkness, her hearing was exceptionally sharp. The sound of heavy breathing, footsteps, punches and kicks landing on the body. Every sound was like a drumbeat on her heartstrings. Xiangyi clutched the corner of her clothes tightly. Shui and Sanction did not exchange any unnecessary words. They were equally matched in terms of strength, and it was difficult to determine the winner. Xiangqi counted himself lucky that he did not make a move. If he made a move, he would definitely be beaten up. After dozens of moves, Shui went easy on him a little, and in the blink of an eye he was hit a few times. Sanction sensed that something was wrong. He frowned slightly, grabbed Shui's collar, and pinned him against the wall. Bang! A loud sound was heard. He said in a low voice, I don't need you to go easy on me. Shui had taken off his glasses, revealing a pair of upturned eyes. Brother, are you tired? Do you want to rest? His tone was provocative. The veins on Sanction's forehead were throbbing. He was about to continue beating him when he inadvertently caught a glimpse of Xiangyi's face. The young girl clutched the corner of her clothes tightly. Her slender and soft fingers were so tight that her knuckles were pale. Her eyelashes were trembling uncontrollably, and a teardrop rolled down her face unexpectedly. She was crying. Tutu was crying. Sanction was at a loss of what to do. When she was young, Tutu could not bear any grievances. She would sob nonstop when she cried. However, ever since her parents' accident, she rarely cried. It was as if she had suddenly grown up overnight. If that was the price of growing up, Sanction hoped that she would never grow up in her lifetime. At this moment, Sanction's heart was really breaking when she cried. He slowly let go of Shui's hand that was shackling him. All of a sudden, all his venting seemed to be meaningless. Following his line of sight, Xiang Li and the others also noticed Xiangyi's tears. The men started to panic. Sister, don't cry. Little sister, Big Brother is here. Little rabbit, eat a candy. Okay? The three of them surrounded the young girl and tried to coax her. Sanction did not step forward. His expression was unreadable. Shui's Adam's apple bobbed. In his eyes, there was only the little girl not far away. All of his schemes and calculations seemed laughable. He advanced step by step, but she had never calculated. Shui licked the corner of his mouth, where he had just been punched by Sanction, and the pain was still clear. He wanted to get close to her, but he felt that he was not worthy. Xiangyi was originally just a little sad. but after being coaxed by her brothers, she seemed to have lost control of her tear ducts, and her tears fell uncontrollably. She felt embarrassed. She turned around and covered her face with her hands, sobbing softly. The brothers immediately panicked. "Sister, what's wrong? What's wrong?" Xiangyi sobbed. "It's so embarrassing. I'm already so old and I'm still crying like this. How could that be? It's human nature to cry." "Yes, yes, yes. In front of us, you can cry if you want. Tutu, in our eyes, you'll always be a willful little kid." Xiangyi finally stopped crying. She looked at Sanction from afar. Her beautiful doe eyes were moist, and the corners of her eyes were red like a rabbit's. It was as if tears would fall any second. She did not say anything, but it was already more than 1,000 words. How could he bear to let his sister be sad? Sanction's expression changed, and the muscles on his jaw tightened. He glanced at Shui and gritted his teeth. He seemed to be dissatisfied and helpless. "You got off easy." Chapter 540. These words meant that no matter how upset Sanction felt, he had accepted Shui, because this was the person Tutu liked. Shui took a deep breath and suppressed the surging emotions in his voice. "I won't let her down. I hope you understand the weight of these words." Sanction's eyes were full of warning. With that, Sanction walked out of the living room without looking back. He needed to smoke a cigarette to calm down. However, Tutu hated the smell of cigarettes. Xiangyi adjusted her emotions and ran towards Shui. She held the man's large hand and asked, "Does it hurt anywhere? Let me see if it's serious." This scene was an eyesore to the brothers of the Xiang family. However, Xiang Yu had been the head of the family since he was young. Judging from his attitude, he had obviously accepted Shui. Xiang Yu clenched his fists and said seriously, "Brother Shi, you've been the brother I respected since we were young. My sister is the treasure of our family. I hope you can treat her well." Xiang Qi said in a harsh tone, "Shi, I'm telling you, if you let my sister suffer, I won't let you off." Xiang Li wiped his glasses with an alcohol pad. His temperament was refined, but the words he spoke were inexplicably chilling. "You better understand that our family's bunny is definitely not a girl you can treat casually." Shui nodded. "I'll take your words to heart." "What should I do? What should I do when this D*MN man calls me brother?" He suddenly understood why Xiang Yu had gone out. The three of them were silent and left the living room at the same time. They were afraid that if they stayed any longer, they wouldn't be able to resist beating up Shui. Even after they left, Xiangyi was still in a daze and in disbelief. "My brothers agreed to let us be together?" Shui chuckled. "It seems so!" Exclamation point. Xiangyi's eyes sparkled. "That's great! That's great! Thank you, Sister E, for bringing me to meet my family. And thank you, Sister E, for giving me a status." Hearing this, Xiangyi was a little embarrassed. "It's my duty to bring my boyfriend to meet my family." Shui rubbed her soft hair and said apologetically, "I'm sorry, Sister E. I'm afraid I can't take you to see my family for the time being." Xiangyi had heard a little about Shui's family situation. Shui was brought up by her father, and the two of them were very close. His master was a famous painter. His attainments in art had reached the point of perfection. He could be called a master. Unfortunately, he had a mental problem and was currently recuperating abroad. Mother Shi worked hard in the business world. She had gone through bankruptcy before, but she had made a comeback. She was a typical career woman. Xiang Yu had heard that she had a deep conflict with Shui, but he didn't know the details. "It's okay. Let nature take its course." Not only did Xiangyi not take it to heart, she even comforted Shui. "Uncle will definitely get better." The two of them were talking when they were suddenly interrupted by a series of footsteps. "Oh my God! Sister E, why did you summon all your brothers?" Li Jianyu was dancing with excitement. "How long have they been in the manor?" Xiangyi thought for a moment. They should all be here today. Li Jianyu did an exaggerated slide and rushed in front of Xiangyi. "Sister E, did you know? You have a halo on top of your head. The 4 brothers of the Xiang family were all here. How interesting! How interesting! The guests of other families were making the director worry. A guest like Xiang Yi is really rare. Chapter 541. Not only did they not have to worry, but they also brought along their own guests. Xiang Yi. It's okay for them to be on camera, but I don't know if today's guests will mind. Today's guests seem to be very important. The current guests were basically invited before 2 Under One Roof became popular, and it took Li Jianyu a lot of effort to invite them. Although it was a live broadcast, Xiang Yi was worried that the guests would mind being robbed of the limelight. It's okay. Director Zhang is a very nice person, Shi Sui explained in a gentle voice. He won't mind this. Director Zhang was a TV drama director, and he was the one who directed the drama that made Shi Sui win the Best Actor award. The 2 of them were very close. That's good, that's good. Li Jianyu was relieved and looked at the time. Seeing that it was about time, he hurriedly said, Director Zhang is probably coming soon. I'll go to the door to greet him. By the way, Daddy Shi, why are you in such a mess? There was also a footprint on the front of Shi Sui's sweater. The man's expression did not change. I'll go change and go with you. He went back to his room. After changing his pants, Shi Sui took off his sweater and casually chose a white shirt from the cloakroom. Just as he was about to put it on, there was a knock on the door. He immediately recognized Xiang Yi from the familiar rhythm. His thin lips curled slightly, and he hung the shirt back on the hanger before opening the door. A girl holding a medical kit entered his sight. Xiang Yi looked up and saw Shi Sui without a shirt. Her eyes widened, but she still pretended to be calm. Aren't you cold? Shi Sui smiled and asked instead of answering, Do I look good? Xiang Yi's face instantly burned. What should I do? She felt that Shi Sui's face was good-looking, his Adam's apple was good-looking, his collarbone was good-looking, and his abdominal muscles were also good-looking. Every part of his body just happened to be on her aesthetic level. The tips of Xiang Yi's ears turned red, and she stole a glance at Shi Sui's V-line belt. That's it. Don't let your imagination run wild. I'll check it for you. The man's skin was cold and fair, and his thin layer of muscles were toned and strong. He did not look weak. A few bruises were particularly conspicuous. Xiang Yi pressed a few times and asked Shi Sui how she felt. After confirming that his bones weren't injured, the young lady heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed that Big Brother still had a sense of propriety. She looked up and met Shi Sui's eyes, which were as dark as the abyss. Her heart skipped a beat. Do you like it? She heard Shi Sui ask in a hoarse voice. Xiang Yi's ears turned even redder. She stuffed the medical kit into his hands and said, Apply some ointment or paste some ointment on yourself. How can a boy be so casual? You have to protect yourself when you're outside. Don't wear such revealing clothes. Shi Sui chuckled. Sister E, are you afraid that others will take advantage of me? Xiang Yi said seriously, It's hard to fathom a person's heart. It's hard to guarantee that there are bad guys out there. Shua, her little hand was suddenly pulled and pressed against the part of his body that was called famous abdominal muscles by fans. Xiang Yi said shyly, Don't do this. You feel like I'm taking advantage of you? You're the only one who's taking advantage of me, okay? That last syllable of his was enough to make one go limp. Xiang Yi? She pulled a long face and said in an extremely serious tone, Shi Sui, I have a secret to tell you. I think there's a bad person living in my heart. It wants to do bad things to you. Shi Sui raised his eyebrows. Xiang Yi promised, Don't worry, I'll kill it. Before she could finish her sentence, a pair of warm hands touched the back of her neck. The man's breathing was heavy. Sister E, do you want to do whatever you want for once? Chapter 542. Wherever his slender and well-defined fingertips touched, there seemed to be traces of electric current, spreading an inexplicable itch. Xiang Yi instinctively swallowed her saliva. The man's handsome face was right in front of her. His peach blossom eyes were deep and affectionate as he stared at her without blinking. You should put on your clothes properly. Boys should look like boys. Sister E, Don't you like it? Huh? The distance between the two of them was so close that they could hear each other's breathing clearly. The girl's slender neck was stained with a thin layer of crimson. Her voice was as soft as a mosquito's hum. I like it. Not only did she like to look, but she also wanted to poke it. Shui smiled and led the girl's hand to his lower abdomen. How about now? Are you happy? Xiangyi. The girl's neck and ears were completely red. She looked like a deep-fried spicy crayfish that had just been fished out of a hot pan. His 8-pack abs were well-defined, and his Apollo's belt was smooth and snaking to the side of his pants. Apart from his body temperature, she could even feel the explosive power contained in his muscles. Her fair fingers trembled slightly. Xiangyi curled her fingertips and said softly, I'm happy. Then I'll tell Sister Yi a secret too. Shui moved closer to Xiangyi's ear. His hot breath sprayed on the girl's neck. In my heart, there's also a dark villain. It's unbearable, despicable, and dirty. It has long been premeditated against you. The scheming against you. The scheming against you. It's scheming against you. Xiangyi listened quietly. This was the first time Shui had analyzed his own heart to someone. He looked at the girl's clean and clear doe eyes. His voice was hoarse. Sister Yi, I don't seem to be worthy of your love. Before he could finish his words, the girl interrupted him. I know. Huh? Xiangyi looked straight at him and repeated, I know. I know everything. It wasn't that she didn't know anything. She just chose not to understand. Shui, I have a lot of flaws too. Just like you, we're not perfect people. But it doesn't matter. She broke into a gentle and radiant smile. Let's become better together. Okay? At this moment, the thousands upon thousands of mountains scattered, leaving only the young girl's figure in his eyes. Shui's Adam's apple moved. He had thought of countless answers, but he had never thought that Xiangyi's response would be this. You don't mind me scheming against you? Xiangyi blinked her eyes. I think that you're really cute when you play tricks. Actually, she was a little embarrassed as her cheeks heated up. Actually, I'm also worried that I'm not good enough. I'm worried that I won't have a place in your heart. That's why I'll always put on my best face in front of you. Actually, I'm not that good. Her little hand was held tightly. Shui, you're good. Xiangyi, nice to meet you too. The two of them looked at each other and burst into laughter. Can you put on your clothes now? Xiangyi cleared her throat. Do you think that I don't know that you didn't put on your clothes on purpose? Shui chuckled. You even found out? The girl looked around and saw that there was no one around. She tiptoed and whispered into his ear. You're indeed a famous abdominal muscle. The netizens didn't lie to me. After saying that, the girl's whole body was burning up. She ran out in her slippers. Shui stood there with a smile in his eyes. The dark little person in his heart finally welcomed a gentle glimmer of light that wanted to dash forward regardless of her own safety. Chapter 543. The brothers of the Xiang family had mixed feelings when they saw little Bunny running out of the living room with a flushed face. Their little Bunny was being chased by a dog just like that. Who would be happy about that? Not long after, Shui came out in a fresh set of clothes. He was wearing a simple white shirt that looked clean and fresh. As a basic hospitality, Xiangyi and he went to the door to welcome Director Zheng. Just as the two arrived at the door, Director Zheng's car happened to be there. Director Zheng had an average figure and was slightly plump. He had a good attitude and liked to wear sportswear, so he looked much younger than his actual age. However, there was someone else who got out of the car with Director Zheng. It was Zhuyi. The man was wearing a sweat-absorbing fitness suit that accentuated his firm muscles. His wheat-colored skin looked healthy and sunny, and his handsome features gave off a chivalrous vibe. The moment she saw him, Xiangyi's brows furrowed. The audience, on the other hand, was excited. What the F***CK? What did I just see? Friends, please share your shock on the public chat. Amazing! They actually managed to invite Best Actor Zhuo to their show? Wow! Best Actor Zhuo is still as handsome as he used to be. He's so handsome. Seeing that Zhuo had actually come, Li Jianyu was extremely disgusted. Zhua Yi also had a live-stream variety show, which was a parody of Muyao TV's Two Under One Roof. Although it wasn't as popular as Two Under One Roof, the combination of live-stream variety shows and food elements made it very popular. Those who didn't know better would probably think that it was a joint venture between the two variety shows. Director Zhang was an introverted person. Although he had a good relationship with Shi Sui, he didn't talk much. Besides, it was his first time participating in a live stream and he was a little nervous. After a simple greeting, he remained silent. Zhui came uninvited, but he didn't feel awkward at all. Instead, he enthusiastically chatted with him. Xiao Sui, long time no see. You've become even more handsome recently. Hey, you must be Sister Yi. You're so cute. You look like a doll. Shi Sui nodded slightly in response. Xiang Yi became even colder and didn't say a word. At first glance, their attitude was too impolite, and some netizens immediately denounced them. Is this the attitude of a guest? Please, Best Actor Zhua is a senior. Don't you know any etiquette? Shi Yingdi is at least on the same level as Zhua Yingdi. It's fine if he's aloof, but what right does Xiang Yi have? Other than variety shows, what other representative works did she have that made her treat Best Actor Zhua with such an attitude? This is unforgivable. Along the way from the entrance of the manor, the atmosphere was unusually awkward. Although Zhua Yi was a silly uncle, he had gained a lot of fans over the past 2 years. Many of Zhua Yi's fans were furious when they saw that Xiang Yi and Shi Sui did not respond to him despite his efforts to liven up the atmosphere. Don't the Vase Fairy and Shi Sui know that there's a Chinese phrase called, feel at home? Even through the screen, I feel embarrassed for Best Actor Zhua. He tried so hard to tell jokes, but no one paid any attention to him. I've seen people act like big shots, but I've never seen anyone act like that in front of their seniors. Shi Sui, Xiang Yi, you're awesome. I won't explain myself for life. When they finally arrived at the courtyard, Zhui volunteered to chop some firewood. After that, he even cleaned up the yard. His diligent actions had won him a lot of favor. Xiang Yi, however, pretended that he didn't exist. She leisurely brewed a pot of tea for Director Zhang and even prepared some exquisite desserts. In contrast, more netizens began to criticize them. Chapter 544. Even the fans of Spicy Tutu couldn't understand. Xiang Yi treated everyone else politely, but why did she treat Zhua Yi with such an attitude? Someone among the fans of the untimely CP stood up and made a bold guess. When Zhua Yi worked with Shi Sui, he pretended to be serious and deliberately broke Shi Sui's ribs. Could Sister Yi be using this method to express her displeasure? As soon as the statement was made, Shi Sui's sisters mocked him. If she's rude, so be it. Why bother washing? Please don't ride on Shi Sui's coattails. Humph. The Vase Fairy must have a low EQ. How could she be doing this for Shi Sui? In the manner, Xiang Yi's movements of brewing tea were smooth and elegant. It was pleasing to the eye and had a classical and elegant beauty to it. The tea was clear and fragrant. Director Zhang was someone who knew about tea. After tasting it, he couldn't help but praise, "Good tea! I'm glad you like it." Miss Xiang, are you very knowledgeable about tea? Director Zhang asked with interest. I don't know much, just a little. Miss Xiang, you're being too modest. Director Zhang sighed and said, the drama I'm currently filming happens to have a plot about tea. Miss Xiang, would you be interested in making a cameo appearance? It was supposed to be a normal conversation between the two of them. However, the speaker did not mean it, but the listener did. The listener misinterpreted their conversation. Did you hear that? Director Zhang said that Xiang Yi is good at making tea. She's a green tea B *TCH to begin with. This kind of role suits her very well. Does the Vase Fairy still need to act? Isn't she just acting as herself? Ha 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 ha. While there was a heated argument in the comments, in reality, Zhua Yi went up to Shi Sui, who was trimming the flowers. Shi Sui, how have you been lately? Zhua Yi asked, acting like a senior who was concerned about his junior. Shi Sui said indifferently, thanks to you, I'm doing all right. He obviously didn't intend to continue the topic, but Zhua Yi continued, I'm so envious of you young people. You have so many shows to film, unlike me. I'm getting on in years and there are too few suitable scripts. His words were filled with envy, as well as the sadness of a hero past his prime. Shui glanced at him. Senior, have you ever considered changing your profession? All these years, Zhuyi had been walking the path of a kung fu star. The dramas he filmed were mostly martial arts or action movies. Zhuyi laughed heartily and said, "After all, I have a martial arts dream in my heart. If I don't do it, who in this circle will persist?" These words were said with great skill and aroused the sympathy of many people. I really miss the glorious era of martial arts movies. When I was young, the thing I wanted to be the most was a chivalrous hero, riding a horse to the ends of the world with a sword. Fortunately, there are fewer and fewer Wuxia movies nowadays. It's not easy for Best Actor Zhuo. I feel like there's a Buddha nature in him. It's the kind of sacrificial spirit that says if I don't go to hell, who will? Comparing the two, it's obvious who's better. Shui has acted in many commercial films, right? He had no feelings for her at all, unlike Best Actor Zhuo, who still stuck to his original intentions. Shui only cares about money. Just as everyone was discussing intensely, a straightforward and doubtful voice entered everyone's ears. Bro, isn't the reason why you only act in Wuxia movies because your acting skills are terrible? Everyone was speechless. Who is it? Does he still want to stay in the industry? How could he say something like that? The camera shook and changed before finally landing on a domineering CEO who was not at all domineering. Chapter 545. The audience in front of the screen had blank looks on their faces. Who is this person? The cameraman was also a little dumbfounded and didn't move his camera for a long time. The netizens began to discuss. His words are too hurtful. How uneducated. Do you know how to chat? To be honest, he's quite good-looking, but I don't know why his temperament is a little silly. Zhuyi's expression changed when he saw the person's face clearly. If it were anyone else, he would definitely not swallow his anger given his status in the entertainment industry. However, in front of the real big shot, Zhuyi was very flexible. He smiled and said, "Mr. Xiang, you must be joking. I'm an unorthodox actor. I can't compare to those who have been trained in acting." He seemed to be humble, but he was actually trying to send a message. As an actor who had not been trained in acting, he had already achieved a lot. She didn't expect Xiang Feng to question her. "Joking? You've misunderstood. I'm seriously dissing you." Zhuyi was speechless. That feeling was even worse than eating a fly. The audience in the live stream was about to burst out in anger when someone copied a paragraph from the encyclopedia. Xiang Feng, the current CEO of Xingchen Group, has subsidiaries such as Xingchen Entertainment, Xingchen Video, Xingchen Livestream, and Xingchen Literature website. He graduated from Haslington University with a degree in business studies. The netizens were dumbfounded. This person is the most domineering CEO of all domineering CEOs. All of a sudden, the pop-up comments changed. "So he's a sugar daddy. Mr. Xiang, you're really sharp with your words. Mr. Xiang is so refreshing and unpretentious, completely different from those big CEOs out there. No wonder Zhuyi was so polite even after being dissed. This is a real big shot. Ever since he started doing business, he's been especially lucky. He has repeatedly created business miracles. For example, Xingchen Livestream started by acquiring a bankrupt company. But the next year, it turned a loss into a profit. Don't underestimate him." The comments section was full of praise for Xiang Feng. Even when he dissed Zhuyi, everyone felt that he was sincere and straightforward. Seeing him, Xiangyi's eyes lit up. She made a cup of honey grapefruit water and brought it to her uncle. Xiang Feng was addicted to sweetness and gulped down a large mouthful, ignoring Zhuyi beside him. "Not bad. Sweet and delicious. If you like it, you can bring a bottle with you when you leave. I even made some passion fruit lemons." The conversation between the two was very casual. But when the netizens heard it, they couldn't help but feel jealous. TSK. She doesn't care about Best Actor Zhuo, but she's sucking up to her sugar daddy like this. Are you worthy? The vase fairy is really poisonous. She didn't even pour a drop of saliva for Zhuangdi. He's a guest after all. Is this how you treat him? She's so snobbish. I can't stand Xiangyi anymore. I really don't understand why so many people like a girl like her. Is there something wrong with me? Or is there something wrong with society? Just as the netizens were getting excited, they heard Zhuyi forcefully interject and awkwardly say, Sister Yi and Mr. Xiang both have the same surname. Going back a few generations, their ancestors must be from the same family. Xiang Feng, who had the lowest IQ in the family, suddenly felt a sense of superiority. He looked at Zhuyi like he was looking at a fool. What are you counting for? The two of us are family. I'm Xiangyi's uncle, her biological uncle. In an instant, the netizens who had just finished being keyboard warriors were dumbfounded. Chapter 546. What the hell? The sugar daddy that countless people dream of is actually Xiangyi's uncle? Then what's the point of hating? F***CK. Zhuyi was even more dumbfounded. He was completely dumbfounded, feeling like he had flattered the wrong person. However, after realizing that Xiangyi was the real deal, a glint flashed across Zhuyi's eyes. The charm of an uncle was not something a little girl could resist. Although he was already married, he could still play with this little girl. When the time came, wouldn't he have both beauty and resources? Zhuyi's mind was full of wishful thinking when he inadvertently met Shui's gaze, and his heart skipped a beat. The man's gaze was deep and ruthless, revealing an inexplicable ruthlessness. She was clearly his junior, but Zhuyi couldn't help but shudder. Subconsciously, he avoided Shui's gaze. Ha ha ha. So you two are relatives? No wonder you look so similar. Zhuyi was the typical type of person who would let others feel awkward as long as he didn't feel awkward. He even kept calling her Sister Yi. I heard that Sister Yi is preparing to act in a drama? Do you need me to tell you some things you need to take note of? It's all based on our experience. Xiangyi said coldly, Thank you, but no need. Zhuyi laughed dryly. Ha ha ha. Sister Yi really has a personality. In the live stream, smoke rose again. What's wrong with Xiangyi? How can she talk to her senior like that? I'm speechless. Movie King Zhua was kind enough to impart his experience to you. Not only did you not accept it humbly, you even rejected it. I just fell into the trap today. Is this the gentle Xiangyi you guys boast about? Her EQ is obviously low. I can't watch anymore. I'm going to turn off the live stream. The next second, Xiang Feng unceremoniously retorted, Does our Xiangyi need you to teach her? Are you worthy? This extremely dramatic scene directly pushed the development of the plot to the climax. Many viewers who like to watch a good show watched with relish while munching on melon seeds. Fight, fight, fight. Hurry up and fight. Xiangyi's coldness didn't matter, but Xiang Feng's rebuttal made Zhuyi break out in a cold sweat. What did he do wrong? Would he offend the president of Star Group? President Xiang. Yes, yes, yes. I'm not worthy. Zhuyi's tone was humble and he wanted to slip away. I saw a water tank in the small kitchen. I'll go get some water. There was tap water in the manor, as well as a well he had dug himself. Tasted fresh and slightly sweet. Zhuyi put his arm around Shui's shoulder as he walked. They looked like brothers. Little Shui, let's go together. Let's try to fill them up as soon as possible. Shua. His arm was grabbed by a fair hand, and he was suspended in the air. Zhuyi stared at Xiangyi in astonishment. The girl was expressionless. Don't touch him. Zhuyi chuckled and said, Sister Yi, are you misunderstanding something? My relationship with him is very good. Right, little Shui? He thought that Shui would more or less give him some face. But to his surprise, Xiangyi interrupted him and turned to look at Shui. Is your relationship really good? After a pause, the girl said in a childish tone, I'm here. You can tell the truth. Shui stared at her quietly. After a few seconds, she suddenly chuckled. No. Little Shui, you? Zhuyi's eyes widened like copper bells. Did you hear that? Xiangyi's tone was cold. Stay away from Shui. You don't deserve to appear in front of him. No one cares about him. I do. Chapter 547. The wind seemed to have stopped. It was as if someone had pressed the pause button, and there was silence all around. Zhuo Yi's expression changed again and again. He wanted to hold it in, but in the end he couldn't calm down. Although eating well for all 3 meals wasn't bad, it still couldn't compete with 2 under one roof. The gap between the 2 variety shows was getting wider and wider. 2 under one roof was already faintly showing signs of exploding, while eating well for all 3 meals was gradually going downhill. Zhuo couldn't figure out why there was such a huge gap in popularity between the 2 shows, which were both about delicious food and public displays of affection. He used all his means and specially came over to see what was going on. However, he didn't expect them to not give him any face at all. Zhuo Yi was afraid that the past would be brought up again, so he took the initiative and said angrily, "Sister Yi, you've gone too far with your words. Fine, since I'm not welcome here, I'll leave." His acting skills weren't weak, and he got into character within minutes. He strode away and said to Li Jianyu, "I came to support your show, but you're treating me like this. Why should I take this lying down?" The atmosphere was a little stagnant. Some empathetic netizens were influenced by Zhuo Yi's words and were put in his shoes. "I'm so angry. How can they say that about Teacher Zhuo? What did best actor Zhuo do wrong? Why are they treating him like this? Shi Sui and Xiang Yi are really from the same family. Both of them are so outrageous." Zhuo Yi's acting was smooth and smooth, which could be considered the pinnacle of his acting career. That was if he hadn't met the Terminator of acting, Xiang Fengfeng. Unfortunately, he had met him this time. Xiang Fengfeng questioned, "Well, no one invited you here, right? Didn't you come here yourself?" As one of the sponsors of 2 under one roof, Xiang Fengfeng had gone through the guest list before. He remembered clearly that Zhuo Yi wasn't on it. Zhuo Yi stopped in his tracks. The netizens in front of the screen were dumbfounded. What? Zhuo Yi wasn't invited? So Zhuo Yi came uninvited today. Xiang Feng shook his legs, completely lacking the aura of a domineering CEO. Also, if I say you're fat, why are you panting? Who are you acting for? Don't you know why our E is so mean to you? Zhuo Yi suddenly had a bad premonition. When we were filming, you thought you were a senior and Shi Sui was a newbie. You acted for real and even broke Shi Sui's ribs. Do you really think the internet doesn't remember? Xiang Feng didn't give Zhuo Yi any face. Before you question how others treat you, why don't you reflect on how you treat others? Did your brain run away from home and go to Antarctica to feed the penguins? Xiang Feng spoke quickly, like a machine gun, but it contained a huge amount of information. The netizens were stunned. So there was such a thing? The Shi Sui sisters chimed in one after another. That's right. It's true. It even made the headlines back then, but Shi Sui wasn't popular at the time, so the matter was left unsettled. Zhuo Yi's interview back then didn't hurt him at all. He even said that it was natural for a senior to hit a junior. The video of Stinky's Guide to the Stars can be found. Zhuo Yi's body swayed a little. He didn't expect that not only would he fail to gain some popularity, he would even get himself implicated. Chapter 548. Not to mention the passers-by, even Shi Sui's sister didn't know all about what happened back then. Now that the truth was exposed, the netizens were shocked and furious. Zhuo Yi was such a scumbag that he broke someone's bones while filming. He was obviously bullying them on purpose. Shi Sui was now on fire. If he wasn't, would he have no choice but to swallow his anger? No, other than Shi Sui, could there be other victims? Some netizens who were more active had already started digging deeper into the matter. In reality, Zhuo Yi wished he could dig a hole and bury himself in it. He didn't know whether to leave or stay, so he was tormented on the spot. Xiang Yi suddenly said, "I'll walk you out." The cameraman wanted to follow, but Xiang Yi gestured for him to stop. Although he didn't understand her intention, the cameraman still stopped. Shi Sui frowned and wanted to follow, but was stopped by Xiang Yi. "Be good. I'll be back soon." The man was silent for 2 seconds and nodded slightly. Xiang Yi gestured, "Mr. Zhuo, please." Zhuo Yi couldn't figure out what Xiang Yi was thinking, but he was afraid of Shui and Xiang Feng, so he could only nod stiffly. They walked to the gate in silence. Xiang Yi stopped and looked at Zhuyi. The girl's eyes were clear and her facial features were exquisite. When she looked at Zhuyi, his heartbeat became erratic. Zhuyi looked at Xiang Yi affectionately. He thought that he had the charm of a middle-aged man and had charmed many young girls. Xiang Yi, do you have something to tell me? Yes. Hearing this, Zhuyi's smile became even brighter. He ran his hand through his hair and said, Go ahead. I'm listening. A question mark slowly appeared above Xiang Yi's head. She couldn't understand what the man in front of her was thinking. He was so ordinary, but why was he so confident? Our Shui is generous and kind. He has a soft and delicate heart. Zhuyi was confused. Shui, soft, and delicate. Can these words be used together? He doesn't hold grudges, but I'm a very petty person. I can't bear to see him suffer. Zhuyi? Xiang Yi calmly tied up her hair and rolled up her sleeves. That's why I'm prepared to stand up for him. When Zhuyi heard this, he found it rather funny. Little girl, so you really do like Shui. But, did I forget to tell you that I'm a martial arts star? The martial arts stars of their generation all knew real kung fu. Otherwise, he would not have been able to break Shui's bones so easily. He had already made up his mind. The moment this young lady made a move, he would turn around to subdue her and force a kiss on her. There was no guarantee that this young lady would not fall for him with his martial arts. It would be easy for him to deal with a little girl who was still wet behind the ears. Kacha? Ah! The crisp sound of dislocation was accompanied by a scream that sounded like a pig being slaughtered. Xiang Yi's move was too fast. Zhuyi did not even have time to react before his arm was dislocated. I forgot to tell you that I'm quite good at fighting. Xiang Yi did not waste time talking nonsense. She exerted force with her small hands and accurately repositioned Zhuyi's dislocated arm. Oh! The continuous screams shook away the birds that were perched on the branches. Zhuyi was in so much pain that he broke out in a cold sweat. However, he heard something that made him tremble with fear. I also forgot to tell you that I can not only fight, but also heal. The young lady looked at him and smiled gently and harmlessly. Chapter 549. In the living room of the manor. Xiang Feng dug his ears. Did you guys hear anything? No one answered him. Shui lowered her eyes, thinking about something. The brothers of the Xiang family knew that Xiang Feng was a chatterbox. He would never stop after just one sentence. Sure enough, Xiang Feng chattered nonstop. In just a few minutes, the entire internet knew that he had eaten 6 soup dumplings for breakfast, climbed a tree to pick peaches yesterday, went to the hospital to wash his ears and dug out a large lump of earwax. Now, his hearing was extremely good. The netizens? What? Was this person really a domineering CEO? Was he sure he wasn't an idiot? Xiang Feng was very talkative. If Shui hadn't handed him a glass of water and he hadn't stopped to drink it to moisten his throat, he might have continued talking. At this moment, Xiang Yi returned. The girl's eyes were calm as she calmly sat down on the sofa. When Xiang Feng saw her, he smiled and said, "You're back. Are you tired? Uncle will wash a few peaches for you to eat." Before he finished speaking, Xiang Yu handed over a fruit platter. Inside were freshly washed peaches that had been cut into small pieces. Xiang Feng, I remember that you like to eat walnuts the most. Uncle will use the door to get some for you. Xiang Qi handed over the peeled walnuts and stuffed them into Xiang Yi's hands. He looked like he was asking for praise. It wasn't easy to peel them. Hurry up and praise me. Xiang Feng, then I'll make you a cup of milk tea. Little sister, your favorite is jasmine milk green. Xiang Li's voice was gentle as he placed the freshly made milk tea that was still steaming on the small coffee table in front of Xiang Yi. Xiang Feng. He really couldn't think of anything else to do for Xiang Yi, so he reached for a tissue box. Here, wipe your mouth if you're tired. The next second, Sanction, who was in the middle of a conference call, passed by. As he skillfully spoke professional legal terms in English, he took out a handkerchief from his suit pocket and handed it to Tutu. Xiang Feng was speechless. Shui naturally hugged Xiao Naofu and chatted with Xiangyi about canned cat food. The salmon and cod from last time was pretty good. Xiao Naofu ate the most. Xiangyi. Then I'll buy some more. Xiang Feng. Really? She suddenly felt that she was quite redundant. The netizens in the live stream were envious and jealous when they saw this scene. Our Xiangyi is such a cutie. This is the princess-like life I've always dreamed of. Whoa. She has a family and a man. What kind of life is this? Sister E is the happiest person in the world. The morning was peaceful and leisurely, but countless people in front of their screens were watching with relish. It turned out that the quarrels and bickering between family members, or even if they didn't say anything, just being in the same room with some reading books, some doing handicrafts, some busy with work, and some playing games was actually so warm and blissful. In the director's office, Li Jianyu suddenly realized something and frantically jotted down something on a notepad. Someone came to him to ask about work, but was persuaded to leave by Wan Qing. The strong and bright woman, at this moment, chose to silently accompany Li Jianyu. When it was almost time for dinner, Shui was about to cook. Xiangyi couldn't stand it anymore and said coquettishly, "Let me cook just once, just once, just once. Okay?" Before Shui could respond, voices of objection came from all over the room. No! Chapter 550. Your hand is still injured. How can you cook? Don't even think about it. Sit down obediently. Voices of rebuke came from all directions. Xiangyi clenched her fists and made a gesture to show off her muscles. It's okay that I'm injured. I can really do it. I'm super strong. The netizens were flabbergasted. E is so cute. Sisters, I can do it. I can do it again. Cuteness is justice. Awe. Brothers, promise her. Let our sister E touch the little spatula. Look at how greedy she is. She's addicted to cooking. Shui was speechless. Xiang Feng was speechless. The Xiang brothers were speechless. At this moment, the few men's brain circuits that had never been synchronized actually connected to a common frequency. Wife E, sister E, little bunny Tutu is so cute. I'm a very principled person, Sanction said calmly, and the others all stood up straight or sat down in unison, just like primary school students who were being lectured by the dean. Tutu, do you really want to cook? Yes. Xiang Yi nodded vigorously. Sanction said, Okay, let's cook together then. Everyone was speechless. Huh? Is this what you mean by principled? Your principle is that you have no principles when it comes to Sister E. Xiangyi rubbed her hands expectantly. Huh? As it turned out, Xiangyi's expectations were too perfect. When Sangchen said to cook together, he meant that everyone would cook together while Xiangyi sat at the side and watched. Fourth brother, let me wash the vegetables. How can a girl do such chores? Third brother, let me peel the garlic. I'm the best at it. Little sister, sit properly. Are you cold? I'll get you a blanket. Sob. Second brother, let me make the soup, please. Little bunny, be good. Can you cover the lid of the casserole later? Sob. Big brother, I'll fry a meatball. Just a little. Tutu, be good. Xiangyi wandered around but didn't get any work. Feeling aggrieved, she went to Shui's side. Shui smiled. Your Highness, can you do me a favor? The young girl's doe eyes brightened. Tell me. I can do anything. Shui pointed at the switch of the natural gas and said gently, Could you please turn it on for me? Xiangyi ran over and turned on the switch. Shui, thank you, Your Highness. Thank you for your hard work. The young girl turned her small face, and her eyebrows curved into the shape of a crescent moon. Xiang Feng, who was passing by, was confused. What's this, Your Highness? Are you playing house? You're already so old, yet you're still playing such a childish game. Comments in the live stream. Someone, kill me to liven things up for Shui's sister E. It's so sweet, so sweet. Shui is really good at sweet talking. This is the right way to coax your wife. Sister Yi's smile is beautiful, but CEO Xiang is asking for a beating when he speaks. In the director's office, Li Jinyu finally stopped writing and drawing. He leaned against the wall with a huge grin on his face. "Have you found inspiration?" Wan Qing asked. "That's right." Li Jinyu chuckled. "Sister E is my muse of inspiration. Next, I want to do a variety show between family members. Let's do it together?" Wan Qing chuckled. "Haven't you been squeezed enough by me?" Li Jinyu coughed nervously. He rubbed his hands and whispered like a mosquito. "I'm willing to be squeezed by you." Chapter 551. The temperature in the room seemed to rise all of a sudden. After Li Jinyu finished speaking, he felt particularly embarrassed. He first fanned himself with his notebook, but it couldn't dispel the heat that arose from the bottom of his heart. He stood up and the chair creaked. "Ahem. It's too hot. I'm going out to get some air." Whoosh, his wrist was suddenly grabbed. As far as his eyes could see, the woman's soft fingers and imperial red manicure were clean and beautiful. "Do you want to try it? Let's do it together," Wan Qing asked with a smile. The room was so quiet that the sound of Li Jinyu swallowing his saliva was particularly clear. The usually eloquent person was stuttering at this moment. I want to ask, you mean together or maybe together with what I think together?" Wan Qing smiled. "What else?" Li Jinyu was speechless. He asked cautiously, "Then what should we name our child?" Wan Qing? ? Sorry, I'm such a blabbermouth. Blabbermouth. Li Jinyu, who had accidentally blurted out his thoughts, blushed. Then are we superior and subordinate or boyfriend and girlfriend?" Wan Qing's fingers moved from his wrist to his chin and gently slid across his protruding Adam's apple. There was light green stubble there that was slightly prickly. "Of course we're superior and subordinate." Li Jinyu's eyes darkened. However, he heard Wan Qing say unhurriedly, "More like boyfriend and girlfriend." Li Jinyu. F***ck. I'm no longer single. F***ck. F***ck. At the dining table in the living room, after everyone's hard work, a large table of sumptuous lunch was ready. Although not everyone's cooking skills were good, the atmosphere of the family cooking 1 or 2 dishes and eating together in the end was really good. Of course, the men couldn't resist Xiangyi's coquettishness and finally let her make 2 simple cold dishes. The group gathered around the table, and the netizens in front of the screen had also ordered takeout or prepared home-cooked dishes. Originally, she thought that today would be the same as usual and could be treated as a mukbang, but unexpectedly, the atmosphere at the dining table became hostile. Xiang Qi was the first to take out his big bowl, which made countless people laugh. Everyone was laughing when they saw Xiang Yu take out a big basin from his backpack. Basin? The young esports god looked calm as he placed the basin in front of him. Netizens? One with a bowl, the other with a basin. Does the Xiang family all like to bring their own tableware? Ha ha ha. This basin is so big. It looks like the stainless steel basin that comes with instant noodles. Wait, why did CEO Xiang bring a pot over? It seems to be a hot pot? Under the incredulous gazes of countless people in front of the screen, the domineering president of the Xiang family, Feng Feng, calmly brought over an electric hot pot used for hot pot. Hashtag as long as my pot is big enough, I'm not afraid of not being able to eat it. Hashtag eat, why aren't you eating? Let's eat, Xiang Feng said. Director Zhang, who had always been calm and collected, widened his eyes when he saw this scene. This works too? The netizens watching the live stream laughed even harder. Ha 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 ha, I'm laughing so hard. F***ck. Why is this family always making me laugh? In ancient times, Mulan joined the army on her father's behalf. Today, there's a prime minister carrying a pot to battle. Thumbs up. No, it's just lunch. Why do I feel like I'm on the battlefield? Just as the netizens were lamenting, Xiangyi picked up her chopsticks and the battle began. Chapter 552. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Several pairs of chopsticks simultaneously picked up Xiangyi's cold dish. The men from the Xiang family moved their chopsticks like the wind, their chopsticks flashing like knives and swords. A gust of wind swept through, and the cold dish was instantly emptied. When the Xiong family army went to war, not even a blade of grass grew. When it was time to taste each other's dishes, the Xiong family began to diss each other. "Your ginger duck makes me want to vomit. I never thought there would be such a disgusting fish in the world. You can even make something like scrambled eggs with tomatoes so disgusting. Little uncle, you really are the god of dark cuisine." It was noisy, but it was very heartwarming. Xiangyi rested her face on her hands and watched the scene with a smile. This was the reason why no matter how many worlds she had transmigrated through, she still chose to go home. Because home was only where one's family was. "Come, cheers!" Xiang Feng loved liveliness. Wherever he was, there was no atmosphere that couldn't liven up. He called for everyone to raise their glasses. The little drunkard Xiangyi's eyes sparkled. Just as she was about to raise her glass, the glass in front of her was replaced with a small bottle of milk. Songchen's face was serious. "The little kid wants to drink this." Xiangyi, unhappy. She didn't dare to disobey her big brother, so she could only drink the milk dejectedly. After the meal, the Xiang brothers took over the housework. Director Zheng pulled Shui and Xiangyi to talk about the collaboration. "The character designs are what I just described. The scenes can be shot in about a day. I wonder if Shui and Sister Yi are interested?" Director Zheng was currently filming a Xianxia drama. The main plot was the traditional route of the male lead fighting monsters and stealing treasures to level up. In this drama, the male lead's golden finger also obtained a magical ring. However, the ring didn't contain a white-bearded grandpa, but rather a white-robed, wide-sleeved immortal. His interactions with the male lead weren't all about helping each other, but all kinds of sharp disagreements. The other character was a banshee in the male lead's inner demon fantasy. In order to help the male lead pass the tribulation, the venerable immortal entered the male lead's inner demon environment. As a result, she had an extremely seductive scene with a female demon. Director Zhang continued to persuade them. "This will be a challenge for both of you. Shui can try acting with an actress, and Sister Yi can also familiarize herself with the filming of a TV series. The requirements for a TV series are lower than for a movie." In fact, he didn't have much hope in his heart. After all, with Shui's current status, there was really no need for her to play such a special guest role. Needless to say, Xiangyi didn't seem to have any ambition at all. From the bottom of his heart, he felt that the two of them fit the role too well, so he wanted to work hard. Unexpectedly, Xiangyi agreed. "I can." She had been an actress in another world, but it was different from this world. She wanted to quickly adapt to the current environment so that she could cooperate with Shui in the future. As soon as she agreed, Shui had no objection. "Sister Yi can do it, so can I." Director Zheng was overjoyed. "Looks like I was right to come today." Seeing that the decision was about to be made, Xiang Feng, who was eavesdropping on the side, shouted, "Show me the script first. Are there any intimate scenes?" As soon as he said this, the brothers of the Xiang family appeared in front of director Zheng one after another. The four men with an average height of 183 centimeters and the 180 centimeters Xiang Feng formed an extremely oppressive wall. Director Zhang, who was surrounded in the middle, trembled. It's not particularly intimate." Chapter 553. Half an hour later, Director Zhang held on to the script that had been changed again and again in despair. He maintained his bottom line. "No, I can't change it anymore." He had originally planned to shoot an artistic and ambiguous scene in the fantasy scene, but now, there was nothing left. The only plot that remained was the demoness attempt to seduce the Celestial Lord. However, the original plot of the Celestial Lord falling into depravity was changed to the Celestial Lord pushing the demoness away and successfully transcending the tribulation. Xiang Feng smacked his lips. "This is passable." However, the brothers of the Xiang family were still frowning and expressing their dissatisfaction. However, looking at the pitiful and helpless idol of their sister, the four men's hearts all softened. "Forget it, this is my sister's career, we should support her." Hence, the four of them met to study the script and made sure that there were no intimate scenes or lines that crossed the line. Only then did they give up. Director Zhang heaved a long sigh of relief and said, "You guys chat. I'll go take a walk in the yard." The netizens in the live stream were laughing maniacally. Ha ha ha. Director Zhang is slipping away. Director Zhang is known for never changing a script. He actually changed it today. Her brothers and little uncle dote on Sister E too much. I'm so envious. Our country owes me too much. There were also netizens who felt that the act of changing the script was playing with privileges. Since you've already decided to go into acting, why care about these things? Sure enough, you can do whatever you want with money. Haha, poor screenwriter. I'm afraid he'll have to stay up late tonight to change the script. Vase fairy, you're a B***th, and yet you still want to pretend to be chaste. Actors should film all kinds of scenes. You have no professional ethics at all. There were also some who felt that acting was just a profession and they just had to fulfill their obligations. I'm dying of laughter. For example, if you're in the workplace and your boss asks you to do something you don't want to do, you can choose to give in or jump ship. What era are we in now? Why are you still imposing all kinds of moral restraints on actors? Both sides had their own opinions and were in a heated argument. It wasn't until Xiang Feng spoke that everyone shut up. Why don't I invest some money in Director Zhang? Lest the crew make things difficult for E. He took out his cell phone and fiddled with it. After a while, he slapped his thigh. What? I'm the biggest shareholder of this drama? With Xiang Feng's current assets, most of the time, his investments were handled by professional managers and family trust funds. He had a big heart, so he didn't know much about the details of many investments. Xiang Feng muttered, "Then invest more. Let R.E. join the team." Xiangyi, it's okay. I don't even have 10 lines in total. No way. It's our little baby's first time filming. So we can't let her suffer. Xiang Feng looked around. Isn't that right? Xiangyi thought that her brothers would persuade her uncle, but she didn't expect that. Xiangyu, that makes sense. I want to invest too. Xiangqi, isn't it just money? I have plenty. Xiangli said, "Little rabbit, don't worry. Big brother still has some money to invest." Songchen's last words were concise and comprehensive. Yes. Xiangyi? What's going on? Am I the only one who's sober in this family? Director Zhang, who was taking pictures of the flowers and plants with his cell phone in the yard, had no idea that he had received 5 investments in such a short time. Chapter 554. The netizens teased him in the comments section. Director Zhang, you're rich now. This is probably a gift from the heavens. I'm so jealous. Sister E is really the little princess that everyone dotes on. Her family dotes on her too much. Who doesn't want to have a family that can be a safe haven? Sister Yi's family is Sister Yi's backing. My family, sigh. Countless people in front of their screens were envious of Xiangyi. The feeling of having a family backing her up no matter what she did was really great. Perhaps it was because of such a family that such a gentle and peaceful girl could be raised. At a certain private hospital, Zhuyi was waiting for the results of the checkup. He asked his assistant to take a picture and post it on Weibo, acting pitiful. Zhuyi V. Life is not easy. Time will reveal a person's true nature. The man in the picture was pale and covered in cold sweat. His facial features were still handsome, but he looked much more haggard. After all, Zhuyi was a double award-winning actor who had debuted many years ago and had accumulated a lot of fans. The fans were the first to reach the comments section and were extremely indignant. Didn't Best Actor Zhuo go to the manor? How did he end up like this? Did Shui do something to Zhuyi? She hit him because it was necessary for filming. Now that she's taking revenge, it's too tasteless. Oh my god. Shui is too vicious. Didn't she just hit him a few times? Why did she have to take revenge like this? I believe teacher Zhuo didn't do it on purpose back then. The fans had a sharp filter and felt that Zhuyi did nothing wrong. Instead, they began to scold Shui. The Shui sisters rushed over when they heard the news. When they saw the comments section, they were immediately displeased. The two sides fell into a war of words, and the comments section became a battlefield. The Shui sisters were very aggressive, and it didn't take long for Zhuo Yi's comments section to fall into chaos. Zhuo Yi's fans began to change the topic, saying that Shi Sui and his fans were committing murder with fire. Zhuo Yi was better in terms of ability, experience, and acting skills. However, they underestimated the ability of netizens to expose the truth. Someone happened to locate Zhuo Yi's hospital and found a stack of medical records in a Weibo post by a medical staff. After zooming in, it just so happened that Zhuo Yi's medical record was at the top. The diagnosis results were clearly written on it. Although most of the words were blocked, there was one sentence that could be vaguely recognized after zooming in. The patient's bones, joints, and skin are all normal. Netizens? In other words, wasn't he completely fine? Then what are you acting for? Zhuo Yi's fans were also dumbfounded. They thought that Zhuo Yi had been bullied by Shi Sui. But, to their surprise, Zhuo Yi was actually very healthy. The Shi Sui sisters took the diagnosis and began to mock him. Wow, best actor Zhuo is awesome. What are you pretending for? You look like you've been beaten up. What a joke. In terms of experience, our Shi Sui is indeed a few years younger than him. But in terms of ability, Zhuo Yi is a double Best Actor award winner while Shi Sui is a triple Best Actor award winner. In terms of acting skills, Shi Sui has acted in all kinds of roles. Has Zhuo Yi acted in any other genre other than wuxia dramas? No. At this moment, the medical staff brought the medical records to the VIP lounge. What? He's completely fine? How is that possible? Zhuo Yi couldn't believe it at all. He had clearly been tortured so badly by Xiangyi, and his hand had been dislocated and reattached countless times. But now, he was being told that he had been beaten up for nothing? Chapter 555. Yes, we didn't find out about the dislocation you mentioned, Zhuo Yi yelled. That's because she reattached it for me. The doctor couldn't help but blurt out. She's a miracle doctor. Her healing skills are superb. Zhuo Yi? The doctor coughed awkwardly and said, Mr. Zhuo, in short, there's really nothing wrong with your body. Zhuo Yi broke down. His body was fine, but his mind was. As soon as he closed his eyes, his mind would be filled with the image of that demonic child who looked gentle on the outside and broke like a fried dough twist. Zhuo Yi couldn't help but shiver. The back of his clothes was already soaked in cold sweat. He finally began to regret what he had done in the past. If he hadn't treated Shi Sui that way back then, would he not have suffered the consequences of his own actions today? As evening approached, the Xiang brothers all left one after another as they had their own matters to attend to. In the end, only Xiang Feng stayed behind. Unable to stand Xiangyi's coquettish behavior, he ordered a takeout feast for his niece, which included all kinds of junk food. The two of them even hid in the small kitchen and secretly ate behind Shi Sui and director Zheng's backs. Come, cheers. Xiang Feng held the milk tea and toasted Xiangyi with pride. Xiangyi took a big gulp and successfully sucked in the pearl herb and pudding. She also ordered a piece of fried chicken that was crispy on the outside and tender on the inside, which was dipped in sweet and spicy sauce. When she bit into it, she could even hear the crisp sound of it burning. The girl squinted her eyes in bliss as her little legs fluttered excitedly. Eating junk food was so delicious. It's so delicious, little uncle. Xiang Feng smiled foolishly. Hee, I like it too. The uncle and niece reached a consensus and dug in. This scene was recorded by the camera, and the audience in the live stream protested. This 3D surround sound. I'm dying of hunger. Little uncle seems a little unreliable, but I love it so much. Ha ha ha. Last second. Fried chicken with milk tea is so hot. I'm not eating it. At this second. Are you there? Do you have a takeout coupon? I'll place the order now. After eating and drinking to her heart's content, Xiangyi felt a little guilty. She rubbed her belly, took a clean paper box, and filled it with all the food. Who is it for? Shi Sui, Xiangyi said seriously. It's not good to eat alone. Xiang Feng said with certainty. He won't eat such junk food. Don't judge him by how he can endure hardships when he's filming. He's usually very pretentious. He doesn't eat explosives, he doesn't drink milk tea, and he rarely touches anything sour or spicy. He's even healthier than the elderly. The next second, a deep and magnetic voice drifted into his ears from afar. It's not a bad idea to eat some occasionally. Xiang Feng. He instinctively felt guilty, but when he saw that Shi Sui was alone, he was slightly relieved. TSK, wasn't it because Chen Chen and the others used to catch her in the act so often that she was traumatized? The table was in a mess. Shi Sui glanced over and stopped for a few seconds on Xiangyi's iced milk tea, which had only 1/3 left. Do you want to try it? This fried chicken and onion rings are very delicious, and there's also a pumpkin pie. Xiangyi handed over the small box like she was presenting a treasure. Shi Sui smiled slightly and didn't let Xiangyi down. He tried all of them. Oh, not bad, he commented. Xiang Feng's eyes widened. You're actually making an exception to eat these? Didn't you say you would never eat junk food? Shi Sui said indifferently. First of all, people can't eat junk food. Secondly, a white horse isn't a horse. Junk food doesn't equal junk food. Finally, what you eat isn't important. What's important is who I'm eating with. Chapter 556. The man's voice was mellow and gentle, and he looked like a gentleman. Yet his words were inexplicably sweet. The experts in the live stream all popped up. I'm getting candy every day. Square root. Focus. The most important thing is to eat it with Sister E. Shi Sui is so good at this. She's reasonable, and a little flirtatious. He'll eat all the food she gives him. This joke is so sweet and torturous. Are there any wives out there? The comments section was in full swing, but in reality, Xiang Feng made a vomiting gesture. I'm going to vomit. You're not forcing yourself to eat food you don't like because of me, are you? Xiangyi? Shi Sui? The netizens? Bro, don't say anymore, I understand. Xiang Feng patted Shi Sui on the shoulder and said earnestly, be a human. Don't be a pervert. Shi Sui was not surprised and simply smiled without saying anything. Xiangyi couldn't help but put her hand to her forehead. There was a reason why Xiang Feng had the lowest IQ in the family. Xiang Feng, I understand. Well, it's my fault for being so popular. The whole world likes the handsome and charming me. The netizens? What? Mr. Xiang, do you have some misconceptions about yourself? What kind of rare and naive species is this? But why do I find him so cute? On this day, something happened that made the public relations department of an internet celebrity company under Xingchen Entertainment not know whether to laugh or cry. The overall quality of the internet celebrities cultivated by the company was not bad, but they didn't have many fans in the industry. However, they didn't expect that after their boss appeared on Two Under One Roof, he would inexplicably become famous all over the internet. The number of fans he gained in a day was even greater than the number of circles that the public relations department had worked hard to maintain for a long time. Their boss had become famous before the internet celebrities under their company became famous. After dinner, Xiangyi reluctantly said goodbye to Xiang Feng. Xiang Feng ate too much and his abdominal muscles were almost squished together as he scrolled through the news on his cell phone. The chauffeur drove steadily. Suddenly, screech! The tires screeched violently against the ground. Xiang Feng's body leaned forward uncontrollably, but he bounced back to his original position with the help of the seatbelt. Mr. Xiang! The chauffeur trembled. Someone fainted. It was originally a sunny day, but for some reason, it started to rain. It was a downpour. A frail and slender woman was lying in front of the car. Her white dress clung tightly to her body, outlining her graceful curves. The driver lowered his gaze, not daring to look at her. Xiang Feng, however, was very calm. Call 120 first. Okay. After the driver finished the call, he saw that Xiang Feng hadn't moved. Mr. Xiang, why don't I go down and take a look? Although the woman was not hit by them but fell on her own, out of humanitarian spirit, the driver felt that they should go and take a look. No way. What if I blackmail you? Driver? Are you listening to human speech? On the ground, Qin Wanyan was so cold that her teeth were chattering. She had used up the last of her points to exchange for a weather-changing card. After waiting for a long time, She finally fell right in front of Xiang Feng's car. Unexpectedly, he didn't get out of the car even after a few minutes. Instead, the ambulance arrived. The car window finally rolled down and she heard the man speak. "Can you still stand up?" Qin Wanyan's eyes were filled with hope. She thought that Xiang Feng couldn't bear to get out of the car to accompany her. But she heard the next sentence. "The ambulance's stretcher is charged. If you can stand up, I suggest you climb into the car. That way you can save some money. No need to thank me. After all, I'm the successor of socialism." Qin Wanyan? Chapter 557. Qin Wanyan was completely dumbfounded when she heard Xiang Feng, that universe-level man of steel, speak. She questioned the system in her mind. Are you sure he's my target? Is there a need to target such a perfect man? The little system said weakly, "Hello, host. According to my calculations, the target has the aura of a domineering CEO. Both his assets and appearance are top-notch in this dimension. In addition, he has an entertainment empire under his name. If you target him, you'll be in the entertainment industry." Hearing this, Qin Wanyan gritted her teeth and pinched her thigh hard. Tears squeezed out of her eyes, and her body trembled from the cold. "Sir, I'm so scared. Can you please accompany me to the hospital?" The woman in the white dress looked pitiful under the heavy rain. If it were any other man, even if they weren't moved, they would at least soften. However, Xiang Feng said warily, "You want me to pay for your stretcher? It's too expensive. It's not worth it. Don't extort me." Qin Wanyan was speechless. She choked and couldn't speak. At this moment, a doctor got out of the car and held an umbrella for Qin Wanyan. He did a simple checkup to see if she had any fractures or bleeding. A nurse took her temperature with a thermometer. The patient's fever is 39 degrees. Qin Wanyan forced herself to stay awake and looked in Xiang Feng's direction with tears in her eyes. The man poked half his head out of the car window and said something that made her feel suffocated. 39 degrees? 666. Awesome. Qin Wanyan was speechless. He met a young woman who was soaking wet in the rain. Instead of carrying her to the car, he said 666 to her with a high fever. What kind of man was this? Qin Wanyan's eyes rolled. Because of her body and extreme anger, she fainted. 2 days later, the sun was shining brightly. It was a sunny day. Xiangyi and Shi Sui arrived at the set of Achieving the Tao, which director Zhang was filming. Director Zhang was directing and couldn't leave, so he asked the assistant director to receive them. The assistant director, whose surname was Lu, glanced at Xiangyi before turning back to Shi Sui as if nothing had happened. "Shuringdi, welcome, welcome." Director Lu shook hands with Shi Sui. Then, he wanted to shake hands with Xiangyi as well, but the girl only nodded slightly. "Hello." Director Lu was instantly displeased. He felt that Xiangyi did not know how to appreciate his kindness. So many popular female celebrities had to flatter him when they saw him. What right did Xiangyi have to be so arrogant? What an idiot. With his status, wouldn't it be easy for him to make things difficult for her on set? "Shuringdi, your dressing room is in front. Teacher Xiang, your room is over here." Shi Sui rubbed Xiangyi's hair. "I'll come to you later." Xiangyi nodded obediently. She entered the makeup room. The makeup artist had yet to arrive. Director Lu walked around outside for a while. Seeing that there was no one around, he swaggered in. They first chatted about their daily lives. Then he changed the topic. "Miss Yang, this must be your first time acting seriously, right? Don't worry, we'll take good care of Xiangyi. At most, we'll shoot a few more scenes." Director Lu sounded like he was taking care of her, but he was actually dissing her for being inexperienced in acting. In the past year, Xiangyi had indeed acted in idol dramas, but they were of the crudely produced kind. Her acting skills were so bad that she could only stare and pout while pretending to cry. There were even animated pictures of her dark history circulating on the internet. Xiangyi said, "Thank you, I'll pay more attention." Director Lu sneered. "You." Chapter 558. Xiangyi looked at him quietly. Director Lu used his usual tactic to suppress actresses and said, There are some things that can't be achieved with hard work. As humans, it's important to know your own limits. Ahem. I'm not talking about you, but don't take it personally. However, his tone was clearly saying, please take my words to heart. In this crew, you artists have it the easiest. Look at the cameraman, lighting technician, stage supervisor, and those extras. Which one of them doesn't have it tough? Director Liu pretended to sigh and said, everyone has it tough. Everyone wants to work hard and do their job well. However, some people can reap 10 times the benefits, while others may not even reap 1% of the benefits. So? Xiangyi asked. Her calmness surprised Director Liu. Most actresses would start to feel anxious when they heard this. In today's society, women were under a lot of pressure. In the entertainment industry, female artists were not only anxious about their looks, but also about their careers. They would always feel that they were not good enough. When they heard others denying themselves, they would doubt their lives even more. If you're not good at your job, why don't you try something else? Director Liu used this method to get many actresses to willingly climb into his bed. Seeing that Xiangyi was not enlightened, Director Liu cleared his throat and said, Teacher Xiang, your popularity now is only brought about by variety shows. Without the popularity of your work, you're like duckweed. Without a foundation, you won't be able to stand firm. Why should duckweed stand firm? Xiangyi was puzzled. If you're a salted fish, you'll have to make a comeback. If you're a duckweed, you can just float as you please. Everyone has the right to choose their own life. Director Liu was speechless. So, you're willing to be a duckweed? Can't I be a human? Xiangyi said calmly. Director Liu was speechless. Why is this young lady so stubborn? Coincidentally, the makeup artist arrived. When she saw Xiangyi in person, the makeup artist was stunned. Teacher Xiang, your skin condition is so good. You don't even need to put on any foundation makeup. The makeup artist praised as she busied herself. I'll just give you a simple highlight. Director Liu shamelessly refused to leave. He inched closer and said, Let me help, Teacher Xiang. Let me help you with your hair. The makeup artist's expression was ugly, but he didn't dare to say anything. Director Zhang was an actor fanatic. He could film for an entire day just for a few scenes. Usually, he did not care about the daily chores of the crew, so Director Liu became an existence that could cover the sky with one hand. Xiangyi was one step ahead of Director Liu. She picked up the small metal box that someone had left behind on the table and said calmly, I have a specialty. Director Liu teased Xiangyi. I also have a specialty. The next second, crack! The small iron box was easily deformed by her single hand. She raised her eyebrows and said indifferently, It's nothing, just a little too strong. Director Liu felt a sharp pain in a part of his body. With Xiangyi's strength, it would probably explode with a casual squeeze. Director Liu gulped and frantically tried to find an excuse. Well, I suddenly remembered that I have a scene to direct later. I'll go to the set first. After he left, the makeup artist couldn't help but give Xiangyi a thumbs up. Teacher Xiang, you're awesome. You have no idea how many female staff members in the crew are annoyed by him. Finally, there's someone who can control him. Ha ha ha. Chapter 559. At the same time, some fans who were camping at the set of Obtaining the Tao secretly took photos of Shui and Xiangyi coming to the set. After posting the photos online, it instantly caused a huge uproar. On one hand, it was because of Shui's influence that more people began to pay attention to the show. On the other hand, it was because of Xiangyi's professional skills that she was once again singled out and ridiculed by the masses. Joke aside, Xiangyi's acting. Please don't act. With such a beautiful face, can't she become a fashion model in a magazine? To be honest, Shui has lost his mind because of lust. Doesn't he know that he has to rely on his own life to become famous? I thought there was nothing more torturous than the vase fairies singing, but I didn't expect there to be such a thing. That is acting skills. Every frame of her is like a ghost video. After someone posted a photo of Director Liu entering Xiangyi's dressing room, the discussion became even more heated. Wow, I think I've suddenly understood something. I suddenly feel like Xiangyi is so disgusting. Don't tell me her image as a group favorite is also a publicity stunt? Would a real rich beauty do such a thing? So what if she's rich and beautiful? Many children of rich families are psychopaths. Some steal things for thrills, while others steal people for thrills. With the invention of the internet, the spread of information reached the fastest speed in the history of human civilization. Countless pieces of information, good, bad, meaningful, meaningless, and fragmented, occupied the time. Warmth and beauty were shared. Hostility and savagery collided. 1 second, one might be moved to tears by the positive energy, but the next second, one would be typing on the keyboard fiercely. The evil and good of human nature might not have a fixed pattern to begin with, but rather it was constantly changing. Even ordinary people would be pointed at and gossiped about, not to mention the popular Xiangyi. Some people were madly in love with her, while others thought everything about her was wrong. The controversy seemed to never stop. The makeup artist was still putting on Xiangyi's eye makeup when Shi Sui came over. The man was dressed in a white robe with wide sleeves. His long eyebrows reached his temples. After putting on a wig, he looked like an elegant young master from ancient times who was seeking immortality. Xiangyi stared at Shi Sui in the mirror without blinking. How could she be so beautiful? Shi Sui greets the makeup artist. She glances at the girl's expression through the glasses and chuckles. Do you like it? Xiangyi nodded vigorously. The makeup artist didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Sister E, don't be so forceful. Your eyeshadow almost made you faint. I'm sorry. Xiangyi was a little embarrassed and quickly sat down. An actress makeup was difficult to put on, and braiding her hair was even more time-consuming. Shi Sui stayed with Xiangyi for a while, and seeing that she was sleepy, he went out to buy her coffee. Shi Sui ordered a vanilla latte for the bunny. When she returned, she heard Director Lu talking on the phone with someone at the end of the corridor. Xiangyi? That girl is so aloof. I don't know who she's putting on an act for. I don't believe that she's rich and beautiful. Would a real rich family let their daughter enter the entertainment industry? What's the difference between that and selling? Telling Xiangyi that he was going to the scene was just an excuse. In fact, he had been loitering nearby. If he didn't take advantage of Xiangyi, his heart would itch. But she's really stunning. Her waist is thin and her butt is perky. From the back, she's definitely... Whoosh! His phone was suddenly snatched away. Who is it? Are you crazy? Director Lu was halfway through his scolding when he saw Shi Sui. His expression suddenly stiffened and he stuttered. Sure, Shi Sui. Chapter 560. He never expected that someone would overhear him complaining to his friend over the phone. Of all people, it was Shi Sui. He had interacted with Shi Sui before, and his deepest impression of her was that she was a natural at acting. She would almost always complete her scenes in one take, and even if she yelled, "Cut!" it was mostly because of the other actors. Apart from that, Shi Sui was gentle and polite to people and was almost non-aggressive. The young best actor lowered his eyes and hung up the phone casually. Director Lu felt uneasy, but he pretended to be calm. I was just joking with my friend over the phone. You know what men are like. I was just joking. Please don't take it to heart. Shi Sui said in a lazy voice. What should I do? I do take it to heart. Director Lu laughed dryly. Ha ha ha. I know you two are close friends. Let me apologize to you. It's my fault, my fault. You found the wrong person to apologize to. Director Lu was displeased to hear that. He apologized to Shi Sui because he wanted to give Shi Sui some face. Xiangyi was just a young girl. Not only did she not suck up to him, she even wanted him to apologize to her. Director Lu subconsciously said what was on his mind. Is that necessary? As soon as he said that, Shi Sui grabbed his collar. His collar was suddenly grabbed, and Director Lu felt an irresistible force that threw him against the wall. Not necessary. Huh? The window was half open and the summer breeze blew in, but Director Lu felt a chill in his heart. Yes, it's necessary. Director Lu's legs turned to jelly and his voice was trembling. Shi Sui, take it easy. We're on the 3rd floor. The pair of eyes behind the gold-rimmed glasses were deep and indifferent, without a trace of emotion. The man finally tore off his mask of gentleness, revealing the powerful aura that he usually hid well. Go apologize. The man's voice was cold. Immediately, Xiang Yi's hair was halfway braided when Director Lu suddenly barged in recklessly. He bowed and apologized profusely, his humble attitude completely different from before. Teacher Xiang, I won't disturb you any longer. Director Lu came and left in a hurry. Xiang Yi? Question mark. It was quite sudden. The makeup artist was also stunned. How did this person suddenly change? Is it raining red? Xiang Yi shook her head, indicating that she didn't know either. A while after Director Lu left, Shui came back with a cup of coffee. Is the coffee shop far away? Xiang Yi felt that he had been gone for a long time. I accidentally spilled it, so I went to buy another cup. Hearing this, Xiang Yi immediately asked nervously, Are you okay? Are you scalded? Shui hid her left hand behind her back. Nothing. Xiang Yi was so anxious that her baby voice came out. Let me see. Shui then reluctantly showed it to her. Faint blue veins could be vaguely seen on his cold white skin. There was a red burn mark on his skin. Although it wasn't very serious, it was exceptionally obvious. The makeup artist thought that Xiang Yi would say something along the lines of, Why are you so careless? Unexpectedly, the girl sighed. You're really too delicate. The makeup artist? You're not allowed to do this kind of work in the future. Let me do it, Xiang Yi said seriously. Shui couldn't help but laugh. Okay. Thank you, Sister Yi. The makeup artist was stunned on the spot. So, Shui is such a gigolo? At the filming location, Shui first filmed a few dialogue scenes, most of which were bickering with the male lead. He had a solid foundation in his lines and passed all the scenes in one take. Immediately after, it was his turn to film scenes with Xiang Yi. Chapter 561. Shering Di is going to shoot a scene with a female star? Is that true? I can't imagine it. Back then, he and Zhong Yi had such a flirtatious look in their eyes. It'll be so cool if there's an intimate scene. I think it's true, but I heard that the script has been changed. The female star is amazing. She brought money into the cast, and she even brought 5 people's money. Damn, she's so good at it. That's right. Hee. Maybe there's more than 5 people? A few staff members in the drinking area were gossiping in low voices, laughing and laughing happily. Suddenly, a roar was heard. How can some people be so sarcastic? How annoying. How despicable. They were all speechless. A person sat up on a reclining chair nearby and took off the script and jacket covering his face. It was Fu Jian, the male lead of Achieving the Truth. The man had not removed his makeup. His black hair was like a waterfall, and his eyebrows were handsome. He had an ancient charm but not lost his liveliness. Fu Jian rested his slender fingers on his forehead and yawned lazily. Sorry, I'm just practicing my lines. Did I disturb you? The faces of the gossiping staff changed slightly. They had been on the set of Achieving the Truth for so long and had read the script. From beginning to end, the male lead had never said such lines. It was nothing more than Fu Jian scolding them indirectly. However, even if they knew what was going on, they did not dare to offend the lead actor with a limitless future. They could only smile stiffly and agree. Mr. Fu, your lines are so good. Mr. Fu, why don't you go back to the dressing room to rest? It's not good for your waist to lie on this chair for too long. Ha ha ha, Mr. Fu. What are you talking about? We're afraid that we'll disturb your practice. They found an excuse and quickly slipped away. Fu Jian snorted coldly. Bah! How dare you speak ill of our sister Yi? He had just done a few scenes with Shui, and the pressure was too great. Moreover, he had been filming non-stop for the past few days. He was too lazy to go back to the dressing room, so he decided to rest here. He did not expect him to overhear their conversation. Fu Jian lowered his head and sent a message to Director Zheng. Not long after, the staff members who had spoken ill of Xiang Yi were all asked to leave the set. They looked at each other in dismay, as if they were struck by lightning. Why? At the filming location, The location was set in an antique building. The furniture in the building was basically emptied, making it look spacious and clean. In contrast, the smoky red gauze curtain was like a faint mist. When the blower blew, the mist seemed to be flowing, layer upon layer, densely spreading out. Director Zhang was urging them to adjust the lighting one last time. The warm, dim lighting pushed the ambiguous atmosphere to the extreme. His eyes lit up when he saw Shui and Xiangyi. There was no need to talk about Shui. What amazed him the most was Xiangyi's costume. Originally, he was worried that Xiangyi's appearance wouldn't be suitable for ancient costumes. He didn't expect that the girl's bone structure was so good that she didn't look out of place in ancient costumes. Her red clothes were like raging flames, outlining her graceful and slender figure. Her eyeliner was slightly lengthened, and as her eyes moved, she was beautiful but not beautiful, seductive but not glamorous. She was naturally devastatingly beautiful. Director Zhang suddenly thought of a description. Clean and seductive. The two words, which were originally completely unrelated, were perfectly integrated in Xiangyi's words. His mind was overflowing with inspiration. He instantly overturned the original filming plan and came up with a new arrangement. Sister E, let me tell you the scene again. How about we let Shui seduce you? I just realized that it's a double monthly ticket. Please give me a monthly ticket. Chapter 562. Xiangyi was stunned for a moment before she nodded. Okay. I'm fine with anything. The crew was dumbfounded. What was going on? Wasn't the demoness seducing the celestial? Why was it the other way around? Wasn't this OOC? Director Zhang was inspired and continued. In terms of the plot, it's fine as long as it's logical and self-consistent. The most important thing is the atmosphere between the two of you. The demoness is seductive on the outside but clean on the inside, while the celestial is abstinent on the outside but devilish on the inside. One seduces without knowing it, while the other wants to restrain himself but can't. The scriptwriter was a girl wearing black-rimmed glasses. When she heard the director's words, she excitedly typed on the keyboard. Oh, how moving! How moving! Director Zhang really knew how to do this. Just imagining it made her feel as if countless scenes would be blocked as soon as she wrote them. In the past, when she was asked to change the script, she would be dejected. Today, Director Zhang didn't even need to say anything. She wanted to add a few thousand words to this plot. When Director Zhang and Xiangyi were almost done, the scriptwriter finished changing the plot and took the initiative to show it to Director Zhang. After Director Zhang read it, he was overjoyed. Good. This is the feeling I wanted. Then he was puzzled. You usually don't have any motivation to work. Why do you look like you're on steroids today? The scriptwriter screamed in her heart. Because I'm an untimely CP fan. On the surface, she said calmly. Because I've decided to turn over a new leaf and devote all my passion to work. Director Zhang looked at her suspiciously for a few seconds before his attention returned to Xiangyi. He was a little worried about Xiangyi's acting skills. If she was just average, he could still teach her through drama and guidance. But if she was hopelessly bad, for this scene, he could only focus on Shui's scenes and let her be a beautiful vase. Shui and Xiangyi both had photographic memories. They only watched it once and remembered all the lines. This saved a lot of time. Director Zhang waved his hand. Let's do a test shoot first. If there are any problems with the equipment and lighting, we can adjust it again. Saying this was to save Xiangyi some face in front of everyone. Even if the shooting was too bad, Director Zhang could still give her a way out. Meanwhile, the few staff members who had been fired earlier were filled with resentment. It just so happened that the large group of people who were working did not have time to kick them out. When they heard someone talking about Director Zhang changing the plot at the last minute, a few of them uploaded a screenshot online. When the netizens saw the changed plot, they started mocking him again. Can the vase fairy act in such a difficult plot? Shui seduced Xiangyi? Was she even worthy? Is there something wrong with the director's brain? Doesn't Yingdi have misogyny? How is he going to act? Isn't he deliberately making things difficult for others? How much did Xiangyi spend to bribe the director? Just as the netizens were mocking him non-stop, the the filming began. The smoky red gauze curtains fluttered in the wind, and the paper lanterns were warm and charming. The venerable immortal who had mistakenly entered the illusion first looked around. When he saw the demoness resting on the bed, he immediately drew his sword. The next moment, the ignorant and beautiful little demoness opened her eyes without realizing it. Her pupils were clean and clear, but there was a seductive charm to them. The little demoness blinked innocently. When she saw the long sword in his hand, she showed a little fear. Hence, the aloof and abstinent celestial venerable was expressionless but extremely gentle as he put away his sword. Chapter 563. The little demoness heaved a sigh of relief, looking extremely relieved. At this point, Director Zhang, who was watching from behind the monitor, wanted to slap the table and cheer. Shi Sui's performance was as good as ever, and there was nothing much to comment on. However, Xiangyi's performance was really surprising. From the initial confusion to the adorable look after the celestial put away his sword, her performance was natural and smooth, without any trace of acting. Acting didn't feel like acting. For a new actor, this was a very difficult thing to do. However, Xiangyi did it. Director Zhang had originally expected only 10 points from Xiangyi, but now that Xiangyi had scored 80 points, he was even happier. In the frame, the celestial lord, who was dressed in white and had wide sleeves, was walking towards the little demoness. Finally, he stopped in front of the bed. "Who are you?" the little demoness asked with her head tilted. "Do you want to know?" The celestial lord's voice was deep and hoarse. "Tell me your name first." The little demoness said warily, "Don't come so close, or I'll eat you up." The man seemed to laugh. "How will you eat me up?" The little demoness plucked up her courage and pushed him. Based on her skills, she could not do anything to the celestial lord. A strange look flashed across the man's eyes, and he took 2 steps back to put some distance between them. His hands under his wide sleeves unconsciously clenched into fists, and he gradually exerted strength to his joints. Director Zhang thought to himself, "He's indeed a 3 award-winning actor. His acting is so delicate." This man was fickle and had few desires. Naturally, he would struggle when his heart was moved for the first time. He did not want to hurt her. However, has Shi Sui's acting skills improved recently? Her affectionate and restrained gaze was so good. Director Zhang was secretly shocked. Shi Sui was probably the most qualified person among the younger generation to compete for an international acting award. The celestial lord's actions made the little demoness think that he was actually very weak. When she noticed the bloodstains on the celestial lord's body, she hesitated for a moment before jumping off the bed and patting the mattress generously. "You can sleep for a while." "Ha! You are injured. You need to rest." The demoness tugged at the immortal supremacy's sleeve, indicating for him to lie down. The man's expression was unreadable. He lay down silently and closed his eyes to rest. A rustling sound came from beside him. It was the little banshee who was curiously touching his sword. The flying sword that caused countless people in the immortal cultivation world to tremble in fear was now being played by the little demoness. She even secretly tied the sword tassel into a bow. The celestial venerable frowned slightly but did not stop him. After the demoness finished fiddling with the sword, she became interested in the immortal supremacy. She first used her finger to poke at the immortal supremacy's sleeve before poking at his belt. Her fair and slender wrist was suddenly grabbed by a pair of large hands. "Stop it!" The man's voice was hoarse. "Oh!" The demoness wanted to retract her hand but realized that it would not budge. She whispered, "Stop fooling around." In response to her, the man's rough fingertips gently and slowly rubbed her wrist a few times. Director Zhang took a close-up of this scene. His large hand holding her small hand was inexplicably very expressive. The crew at the scene was stunned. On one hand, it was because of Xiangyi's acting skills. On the other hand, it was because Shi Sui was actually holding Xiangyi's hand without any abnormalities. One had to know that he would vomit on the spot if he had any physical contact with other actresses. But why was nothing wrong with holding Xiangyi's hand? It seemed like he was enjoying holding her hand? Chapter 564. The little demoness' ears turned red as she was caught off guard by his touch. She was shocked and panicked. Without thinking, she bit the man's fingertip. Ouch! The man gasped, as if he was holding back something. After a while, he released his hand and covered his eyes, not wanting to reveal any of his emotions. The little demoness thought that she had bitten him. She said carefully, "Well, I'm a monster. I'm poisonous." The celestial lord did not respond. The little demoness said nervously, "Will I poison you to death? I've been in the illusion realm for a long time. You're the first person to come in. If you die like this, won't I be alone again?" She was very distressed and blamed herself. After thinking about it, the little demoness made a bold decision. She climbed onto the bed and approached the celestial lord like a nimble cat. The celestial lord noticed her small movements and said helplessly, "I won't die so easily." The rest of the words were all choked back. The reason was that the little demoness was lying on his chest and licking her red lips. "I'll give you half of my inner core." The celestial lord tried to push her, but she did not budge. Everyone was immersed in this sweet and flirtatious scene when they suddenly heard a sound. Cut! Everyone seemed to have woken up from a dream. Although they didn't know what went wrong, there were still many people who looked at Xiang Yi with gloating eyes. Shi Sui was the best actor. How could he make a mistake? Of course, Xiang Yi was at fault. Unexpectedly, Director Zheng shouted, "Shi Sui, what's wrong with you? Did you not eat enough? Push her. Push her harder." Everyone was speechless. What? So it wasn't Xiang Yi who made a mistake, but Shi Sui? Shi Sui coughed and said, "Sorry." Ever since he entered the industry, he had never made such a low-level mistake. He did not expect to fall for Xiang Yi. Who could bear to push away such a gentle and adorable little rabbit? The scriptwriter was so agitated that he covered his nose with a tissue, afraid that he would have a nosebleed. This plot was too good. If you don't write fanfiction, you're not human. She took out her phone, opened the sticky note app, and began to slack off. Apotheosis Immortal Qing Ling X Soft and Cute Demoness. She has no morals, and only eats meat for the sake of eating meat. If you don't like her, please click cross. She typed furiously, writing more than 1,000 words in a matter of minutes. On the other side, after the stylist touched up Shi Sui and Xiang Yi's makeup, she began the second shoot. Both of them were on point, and their acting went smoothly. The Immortal Prime mercilessly pushed the little demoness away and coldly said, "Don't come near me." The little demoness fell to the ground and looked at him in shock. "But you are sleeping in my bed, venerable immortal." After a few seconds of silence, he said, "Come here." "I'm not going. I've been poisoned. I'm about to die." The senior immortal said seriously, "I need you to help me. Is that okay?" "Oh." When the demoness heard this, she slowly inched over. Just as she reached the bedside, she was pulled onto the bed. After a moment of dizziness, she was in a position where the senior immortal was on top of her. "Do you want to save me?" the man asked hoarsely in her ear. The little demoness nodded her head in confusion. His voice fell. A pair of warm hands covered her eyes. "Then be good." Through the layers of veil, Director Zhang deliberately took a silhouette of the two of them intertwined. It was very artistic and ambiguous. When he shouted "cut," the scene was still silent. No one expected that apart from her stunning beauty, Xiang Yi also had such explosive acting skills. Chapter 565. The shooting was over. Shi Sui immediately got up and distanced himself from her. He was a gentleman to the extreme. The staff on set woke up from their daze and rushed forward to wrap up the scene. Everyone stole glances at the two of them. Shi Sui was still in his costume, but his temperament had changed abruptly. He returned to his gentle and dignified appearance from Master Immortal Qing Ling. Obviously, he was out of character. As expected of the best actor, his speed of getting into character and getting out of character was superb. Xiang Yi would probably have a hard time. Huh? What was shocking was that Xiang Yi was out of character as well. On the girl's body, there was no longer the slightest bit of naivety, sweet, or seductive temperament. Even if she was wearing bright eye makeup, one could still clearly feel that she was her. She was a different person from the little girlfriend in the movie. Her speed of getting out of character was comparable to Shui's F***ck. Who was the one who said that her acting was bad? Where the eyes used to vent their anger. Director Zhang was a perfectionist who was extremely picky when it came to art. He stared at the scene just now and rewatched it several times before he made an okay gesture to Shui and Xiangyi, who were resting. It's perfect. We just need to shoot a few more scenes. I want a more aesthetic effect. The two of them had no objections and cooperated very well. Director Zhang suddenly thought of something and rubbed his palms guiltily. Sister E, will your brothers and little uncles be angry that the script has been changed like this? In the original version, the most intimate physical contact between the two was the little demoness pulling Shui's sleeve, let alone the immortal seducing the demoness. However, the scriptwriter had written on the spot and Director Zhang was a little carried away, so he impulsively shot according to the changed script. Now, he regretted it in hindsight. Xiangyi said seriously, "My brothers and little uncles will understand if I sacrifice myself for art." The little girl looked calm, but in fact, if one looked closely, they would find that the tips of her milky white ears were dyed with a touch of crimson. If it were any other actor, she would never do such a scene, but the one who was acting with her was Shui. She quite liked this kind of open and aboveboard feeling. Perhaps it was time to give Shui a status? Director Zhang heaved a sigh of relief when he got her permission. It was so comfortable to work with a good-tempered and good-natured actress like Sister E. The few additional shots were mostly close-up shots of her on the bed. For example, their hands were clasped together. Another example would be the intertwining of a red dress and a white belt. The most beautiful scene was when the venerable immortal raised his hand to cover the eyes of the little demoness. His meticulous white robe was now open, and his clean Adam's apple was slightly red. It was messy and ambiguous. After the reshoot, the two of them were done with their scenes. Although it was just a guest appearance, Director Zhang still prepared a small wrapping ceremony for the two of them. Fu Jian ran over to join in the fun and prepared gifts for the two of them. Xiangyi had a self-heating hot pot, and Shui had a black thermos. Sister E, this hot pot is delicious. It's just that you might be a little heaty after eating it. Fu Jian chuckled, looking particularly like a comedian. Xiangyi was stunned for a moment before she smiled. Thank you. Are you that happy? Fu Jian scratched his head. It's okay, Sister E. You can tell me if you don't like it. You don't have to act. No, I'm really happy. Other than my family, I rarely receive gifts from others. Xiangyi was a little embarrassed. Fu Jian was very surprised. Huh? How is that possible? Chapter 566. I don't have many friends. Ever since she was a child, she had been busy with her studies and had been skipping grades. She learned medical skills from her grandfather and studied cooking by herself. Every time she went to a new environment, the people around her would change before she had time to get used to it. Apart from Jiang Juzhou, she had never had any close female friends. Even if there were girls who approached her, they would mostly be after her brothers or uncles. Over time, Xiangyi rarely took the initiative to socialize and was more used to being immersed in her own small world. Fu Jian was very surprised. Sister E, you're such a gentle person. How can you not have any friends? He suddenly paused and realized something. She's only treated so casually because she's gentle. Fu Jian was indeed an actor. He immediately came up with a big scene for Xiangyi and patted her shoulder in agony. Sister E, I'll give you gifts often in the future. Before he finished speaking, he felt a dagger glare from a certain Shui. He was so frightened that his hand trembled and he hurriedly retracted it. The reason was that Shui's gaze was too oppressive and he was scared. Director Zhang flew into a rage when he learned that someone had leaked the news of the script change. Not only did he want to pursue the legal responsibility of the staff who had been fired, he also immediately got someone to edit a video and post it on the internet. TV Drama Dideo Official. Today's spoiler has been delivered. Fellow Taoists, please sign for it. I'll post the first video of the mental demon fantasy scene today. This interaction is so sweet. P.S. Guess who made a mistake and made the director call for cut? The video was obviously the scene between the immortal and the demoness. Some netizens didn't even click on the video and began to criticize below. Needless to say, Xiangyi must be the one who dragged our Sure Sui down. I'm so tired. Of all the things pretty sister can do, she just has to act. Doesn't Xiangyi only know how to glare and pout? It's really hard on Sure Sui to act with her. However, after the netizens clicked on the video, due to the lack of time, they only used a simple filter to adjust the color. They didn't even have time to match the music, not to mention the various fancy special effects of the Shenxia drama. However, it was precisely because of this that the audience could feel Sure Sui and Xiangyi's acting skills. From the moment the Celestial Venerable stepped into the veil to the moment the little demoness was pulled into the Celestial Venerable's embrace, the plot was so sweet that it was off the charts. Especially the last set of close-up shots, it could be said to be a classic work of ancient aesthetics. Netizens, so fragrant. F***CK? What the hell am I doing? Is this Xiangyi? Is this for real? Could it be an AI? I'm shocked. Sure Sui's acting can still improve? Xiangyi's acting is also so good. She's so smooth and natural. I really don't feel that she's acting. In addition to being surprised by Xiangyi's acting skills, they were more interested in the plot. Such an interesting plot, and she's only a supporting character? Fujing. Straighten him up immediately. Director, screenwriter, quickly add more scenes for these two. I want to watch the Celestial Venerable and the little demoness fall in love for 100 episodes. Ah, the Celestial Venerable's eyes are so flirtatious, and the little demoness is so sweet and soft. She's so seductive. This couple is too good. At the end of the video, Director Zheng's exclamation of, push them hard, was like a roar from the soul, poking at countless people's funny spots. Who would have thought that the one who made a mistake was Sure Sui? On this day, the untimely couple fans rapidly grew in number. Countless scholars shouted in unison. Round it up to the bridal chamber. Sisters, we've got it for real. I'll adjust my schedule and move the 2 chapters in the morning to the day. I'll also pick a signed book. Just leave a comment. Good night. Chapter 567. The couple's fans were celebrating. However, the directors and actors in the industry could feel Xiangyi's amazing acting skills from this short video. Apart from being natural, her aura was almost overflowing from the screen. Her beautiful eyes were captivating, and every frown and smile was moving. How was this a gift from the ancestral master? This was the ancestral master carrying a pot and chasing after him to coax him to eat. Many directors remembered Xiangyi's name. This newbie has a promising future. The thing that really pushed this video to the climax was a new fan novel, The Celestial Lord, written by a popular but low-key writer on a foreign website. The protagonists were the Celestial Lord and the little demoness in Obtaining the Tao. However, the plot leaped from the baby carriage to supersonic speed. If it was placed on domestic websites, it would be blocked with an asterisk. However, this author was too good at writing. He vividly portrayed the ambiguous and sweet relationship between the Celestial Lord and the little demoness. It was like stewing a pot of beef brisket with tomatoes. Not only was the meat fragrant, but the soup was also sweet. Although it was only a few thousand words, this novel went viral all of a sudden. Enthusiastic netizens even brought it back to China and secretly spread it around. All of a sudden, the official Weibo account of Obtaining the Tao was full of discussions. Looking for full-text resources. The video is even better with the fan novel. What kind of deity is the author of The Celestial Lord? Boo-hoo, he's too good at writing. I must watch that part blindfolded. Obtaining the Tao also gained a wave of popularity. Even the male lead, Fujian's, fans had increased by a lot. However, some fans of the opposing team mocked and ridiculed, saying that Fujian's limelight as the male lead had been stolen by the 2 supporting characters, Sure Sui and Xiangyi. They must be feeling very aggrieved. Fujian, who happened to see these comments, personally picked a comment and retorted, "Isn't it nice to have a godly teammate carry you when playing games?" Fujian's fans agreed. "If you don't like your teammates, are you going to report them instead?" Some people are dying of jealousy, it can't be helped. Fortune favors fools. Our crown prince has such a godly teammate. Our silly girl can ride on the coattails of Shui and Sister E. What a good thing. You can't ride on their coattails even if you want to. Humph. The opposing fans. Wait, your family's main character is now a fan. Are you all so shameless and undignified? His limelight had been stolen, but instead of feeling ashamed, he was proud of it? He was speechless. He had never seen such an artist before, but when he thought about it carefully, if his artist could find a golden thigh like Shui and Xiangyi F***ck, he was even more furious. Over here. Sichuanbai and Nan drove over to pick them up, but they couldn't enter the filming location. Xiangyi and Shui had to walk for a while. Coincidentally, Fu Jian and the female lead's official fan club came to support them. Seeing Shui and Xiangyi walking out side by side, dozens of people screamed and rushed over. Shering Di is so handsome. Oh my god. Sister E is so cute. Oh no, I'm going to become her fan? Seeing that the two were about to be surrounded, more than 10 bodyguards suddenly appeared from all directions and surrounded Xiangyi and Shui. They were the bodyguards that the Xiang brothers had prepared for their younger sister. In the crowd, someone shouted in dissatisfaction. It's bad enough that Shui didn't want to give them an autograph or take photos, but Xiangyi is so uncooperative. What's with her acting like a big shot? Let me tell you, celebrities can't be spoiled. It's precisely because we spoil them that they trample on the hearts of us fans. Chapter 568. The scene suddenly quieted down. Everyone looked at each other and exchanged glances with those who were familiar with them. Through the chaotic crowd, the fan finally caught a glimpse of Xiangyi's figure, only to realize that she didn't even look at her performance. A feeling of embarrassment and anger rose in his heart. What did Xiangyi mean by this? Was she disdainful? Xiangyi, why are you acting all high and mighty? I know you heard it. Look at the celebrities from the neighboring countries. They'll cooperate with their fans. How can you be so cold and aloof to the people who like you? This confusing remark made the atmosphere even more awkward. The bodyguards were expressionless as they cleared the way for Xiangyi, as if she was a rich lady shopping. Noble and aloof. When Xiangyi passed by the girl tried to squeeze through the crowd and rush to the front of Xiangyi, but she tripped and was about to fall when a pair of slender, milky hands suddenly grabbed her wrist. Whoosh! The girl fell into a warm embrace and her eyes widened in disbelief. Her wrist was grabbed by the girl in front of her. Up close, her face was bare, but it was exquisite and flawless. There was even a faint scent of orange in her hair. She was slightly shorter than Xiangyi. Due to inertia, her forehead rested on the girl's slender shoulder. The girl's face turned red at a speed visible to the naked eye. On the other side, rewind time to 2 minutes ago. Nan was impatient and couldn't stay in the car. He shouted that he wanted to come and fetch Xiangyi. Sichuanbai couldn't persuade him, so he accompanied the little colorful guy. From afar, Nan saw the fans who were visiting the set and was a little worried. There are so many people. Will there be any accidents? The next second, he heard the crazy screams of the crowd. Even though Nan had seen the screams of fangirls before, he couldn't help but tremble. Sure, Ingdi's popularity is too strong. They're not his fans and yet they're so agitated. Not long after, the girl who was looking for trouble said something. Nan frowned. I'll go and take a look. He was afraid that Xiangyi wouldn't be able to handle this kind of thing well, so as to avoid being talked about. In the next second, Nan heard screams that were several times louder than before. They were earth-shattering, 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 earth-shattering screams. Ah! Sister E is so cool. Nan? How long has it been? Do you have to betray me so quickly? In the crowd. When the girl steadied herself, Xiangyi immediately let go. Are you all right? She asked. The girl stared at her in a daze. She only felt that Xiangyi was good-looking and her voice was soft. She didn't know why, but she smelled good. She blushed. I am fine. Xiangyi nodded slightly. Be careful. Why didn't you sign for us? Meeting Xiangyi's calm and gentle eyes, the girl couldn't say anything harsh. Instead, her questioning turned into acting coquettishly. Xiangyi was silent for a few seconds. I thought you were joking. She tilted her head and asked in confusion, would anyone really like me? Previously, when she was about to transmigrate back, Xiangyi saw how the netizens scolded her. The girl widened her eyes. Why would you think that? Do you have some serious misunderstanding about your own popularity? Aren't you the most handsome, cutest, and charming female artist in the world? The fans? Miss, there's something wrong with you. Chapter 569. The people around them were shocked. Sister Yi's temper is so good. That girl just said such nasty things. Yet she's still so gentle. Someone boldly asked, Sister E, can I have an autograph? Sister E, can I take a photo with you? Sister E, can you record a message for me as a wake-up call? Xiangyi agreed to all of them good-naturedly and even asked the bodyguard to help her carry the bags. Hence, Anan, who was in the distance, realized that not only did the screams not die down, but they were also getting louder and louder. There were also confessions such as, Sister E likes you so much. Sister E, I love you to death. And Sister E, from today onwards, you're my wife. Anan asked, why isn't anyone shouting Sui's name? Si Chuanbai said calmly, maybe he's past his prime. Anan was speechless. How can you criticize your own artist like that? While the netizens were still praising Xiangyi's acting skills, a few short videos quietly went viral. The first one was of Xiangyi, who was dressed in a shirt and jeans, grabbing the wrist of a girl who was about to fall and pulling her into her arms. The background music was accompanied by classic idol drama music, and it looked inexplicably pink. The second one was of Xiangyi carrying several large bags casually and effortlessly. Not only did she not waste any effort, but she also cooperated with the person next to her to record the ringtone. She gently said, Good morning, Your Highness. And today, you're full of energy too. The third one was of Xiangyi taking a photo with someone. Shui acted as the photographer and helped take the photos without complaint. Xiangyi noticed that the zipper of the girl's skirt was half open. Although there was a bra inside, she still immediately blocked the girl's front to prevent her from exposing herself. The netizens were truly confused. Is this really Xiangyi? Two under one roof had made Xiangyi a success, but it also brought about many limitations. Everyone only saw Xiangyi at home, and the people she dealt with were only the occasional guests. But this time, when she came to the set for filming, people saw a different Xiangyi. She was gentle, calm, polite, and educated. She treated everyone with patience and made people feel very comfortable. All of a sudden, the comments under all the videos were full of flattery. Gentleness is indeed a good attribute. Oh my God. Sister E is too much of a boyfriend. I've replayed the scene of him grabbing her wrist dozens of times and I still think it's so cool. Why are you calling her pretty sister? From now on, it's pretty sister. Call her Sister E. I think Brother E can do it too. Ha ha ha. Everyone in the entertainment industry saw some clues from this. Xiangyi's popularity was unstoppable. Many brands, directors, TV stations, and video websites had extended an olive branch to Xiangyi. In the minivan, Anan relished in the flattery of the netizens to Xiangyi. After listening to a few sentences, Xiangyi asked in bewilderment, Are these really not the fake reviewers you hired for me? Oh my God. What kind of person do you take me for? Anan pursed his lips. I wouldn't lie to you about such things. I see. Oh my God. Why are you so calm? You've become famous. Isn't this what you've always dreamed of? Xiangyi said calmly. After I lost my memory, it changed. She was on good terms with Anan, but not to the point where she could tell him that she was about to pass through. Hence, amnesia was an all-purpose excuse that could be used as soon as it was used. What did you change to? Men, Xiangyi said with a straight face. The kind that I've always dreamed of. Chapter 570. Anan and Si Chuanbai fell silent. Only Shui chuckled and said, Thank you. It's my honor. This thank you. It was a very doggy. Anan looked like an old man who was staring at his phone in the subway. Si Chuanbai took out his tablet and informed Shi Sui of her schedule. There's an SN show on Wednesday and we need to go to Jincheng on Thursday. If there are no objections, that's it. After informing Shi Sui coldly, Si Chuanbai looked at Xiangyi and suddenly changed his tone. Sister E, after Anan and I considered and discussed it, we've decided to give you 3 commercials. One is National Snail Powder for food, one is hand sanitizer for daily necessities, and the last one is the spokesperson for Hades's brand, WF. Do you think it's okay? If you have any thoughts, feel free to tell me. I'll respect all your opinions. Shi Sui was confused. What? Who exactly is your longtime colleague and good friend? Xiangyi flipped through the information prepared by Si Chuanbai. There was no doubt about the ability of the top manager. The 3 brands he picked were perfect in all aspects. I'm fine with anything. Then I'll go talk to the brands, Si Chuanbai said gently. Sister E, don't feel any psychological pressure. Adjust your state of mind. Eat well and sleep well so that you don't have to worry. Xiangyi thanked him warmly. When it was Shi Sui's turn, Si Chuanbai had nothing to say. The 2 of them looked at each other for a few seconds before he said seriously, "Drink more hot water." Shi Sui was silent for a few seconds. "You too." "Oh." The conversation ended. Si Chuanbai followed them to the manor for a meal before going back to work. Anan stayed behind to accompany Xiangyi during the filming of the commercials. Xing Chun Entertainment. In the parking lot, Qin Wanyan's makeup was exquisite, but she looked very haggard. She had already squandered all her points, and there was no way to exchange them for the beautifying filter card. In addition, she now had no source of income. Even if she desperately tried to maintain her former glamour, it was just an act, and it could never replace reality. She waited bitterly for a long time before Xiang Feng finally came downstairs. The man's shoulders were wide and his legs were long. When he walked, he looked like a domineering CEO. However, as they got closer, Qin Wanyan noticed that he was holding a hamburger in his hand. She looked left and right. Seeing that there was no one around, she took a big bite. Half a hamburger is gone. Qin Wanyan. She tried her best to convince herself that although this man was a little straight and stupid, he had money and resources. She could force herself to not despise him. The little system in her mind said weakly, "Host, I don't recommend you use such a radical method. When dealing with a man like Xiang Feng, it's better to take things slowly." "What do you know? Take it slow, it's too late." Qin Wanyan couldn't stand the fact that she had no popularity, no luxury cars, and no luxuries. What was the difference between her and a loser? She was the chosen one. The goddess of fate would definitely take care of her. Thinking of this, Qin Wanyan tore off the bag on the side of her spaghetti strap dress and walked around the back of the car to Xiang Feng. She pretended to sprain her ankle and threw it at him. Her appearance was too sudden. Xiang Feng only had time to take a step back. He was fine, but the remaining hamburger in his hand fell to the ground like Qin Wanyan. Qin Wanyan was in so much pain that she wanted to curse. She looked up at Xiang Feng with teary eyes. The man blurted out a curse. F***CK. Can you still F***King eat that? Chapter 571. Qin Wanyan? She looked at Xiang Feng in disbelief, wondering if she had heard wrong. Qin Wanyan had secretly practiced this throw many times at home in front of the mirror. From the angle, posture, to the opening of the straps, she was very particular about it. Even if she wanted to throw, she had to show the beauty of pure desire. But who would have thought that after such a successful throw, she would run into a weirdo like Xiang Feng? "Mr. Xiang," Qin Wanyan called out to him pitifully. She didn't believe that this man wasn't interested in women at all. "I'm sorry for bumping into you. Are you okay?" She leaned forward slightly, revealing a large patch of snowy skin below her collarbone. If it were a normal man with normal logic, who wouldn't have some inappropriate thoughts after seeing this scene? However, Qin Wanyan had misjudged how straight Xiang Feng was. He thumped his chest and stamped his feet. "My burger is already like this. How can I be okay? I added a double serving of chicken chops. It's gone just like that. I'm so angry." Qin Wanyan. She choked for a few seconds, then tentatively said, Then, I'll buy you another one. Xiang Feng looked at her sympathetically. No need, you have so little fabric. It's obvious that you don't have the money to buy clothes. Your family must be in a difficult situation. I still have money to buy a burger. Qin Wanyan saw that he had no intention of helping her, so she had no choice but to get up herself. She picked up the trash on the ground and walked to the trash can next to her. Mr. Xiang, I'm really sorry, I'll definitely make it up to you. Before she could finish her words, she heard Xiang Feng's shout. Stop! You haven't sorted the trash yet. How can you throw it around like that? Qin Wanyan? She smiled stiffly. It shouldn't be a problem. The cleaner will take care of it. How can that be? You're too uncultured. In order to gain a favorable impression in front of him, Qin Wanyan gritted her teeth and picked up the trash again, bracing herself to sort the trash. Next to her, Xiang Feng was still seriously guiding her on the spot. Burgers are wet trash or perishable trash. It refers to food waste, leftovers, expired food, melon peels, seeds, flowers, herbs, and other biological waste. Food packaging is recyclable. It refers to waste paper, plastic, glass, metal, fabric, and other recyclable household wastes. Qin Wanyan. She couldn't even smile. She barely managed to maintain her expression. Thank you, Mr. Xiang. You're amazing. You've taught me so much. I have to thank you even more. No need. Xiang Feng's eyes were filled with disdain. You don't even know that? Tsk. Even though he hadn't said anything harsh, that tisk contained too much meaning. Qin Wanyan was furious to the extreme. She was not going to serve this man anymore. If she didn't conquer him, she didn't believe that she couldn't complete the mission. Just as he was about to leave, the little system's voice sounded in his mind. Host, this is a time-limited mission. If you fail, you will be punished. What punishment? Qin Wanyan asked impatiently. Why didn't you say so earlier? I did remind you, but you didn't listen carefully. The little system's voice was still delicate and weak, but the words it said were incomparably cruel. If the mission fails, the host will be obliterated. Qin Wanyan suddenly felt a chill run down her spine. What do you mean by obliterated? She suddenly remembered that the fast transmigrator in Ling Ye's body seemed to have been obliterated as well. Chapter 572. The little system said innocently, Obliteration means that you will die, host. What did you say? Qin Wanyan asked, suddenly frightened. Is Ling Yi dead too? Sorry. You don't have enough authority to check the results for you. Qin Wanyan asked in frustration. Can't I not do this mission then? No, host. Can't I not be a fast transmigrator? No, host. The little system was still soft and adorable, but Qin Wanyan shuddered. She realized belatedly that being chosen to be a fast transmigrator might not be a good thing at all. The shooting schedule for the snail noodles commercial was soon set, and the shooting plan was also sent to Xiangyi. The content was very simple. It was a heartwarming and beautiful scene of a human and a cat cooped up at home. They would then cook a bowl of steaming hot snail noodles while the kitten played with a furry ball. On the day of the shoot, Shui also had an itinerary and went out early in the morning. Xiangyi set off at 8 o'clock, and Xiao Naofu came over clingily. Last night, Xiao Naofu and little Shiji got into a fight. To be precise, Xiao Naofu beat little Shiji up one-sidedly. In the end, Xiao Naofu accidentally fell and hit its head on the edge of the table leg. It was clearly its fault, but Xiao Naofu was so infuriated that it ignored little Shiji and insisted on going out with Xiangyi. Xiangyi had no choice but to carry it on her back in a cat bag. Anan also put a simple cat toilet in the car. The space was cramped and Xiao Naofu had no choice but to huddle in the corner. Kittens are the most adorable creatures in the world. No matter how poor we are, we can't let kittens suffer. As soon as Xiao Naofu got into the car, it came out of the cat bag and lay in Xiangyi's arms coquettishly, allowing her to gently stroke the back of its neck with her soft fingertips. Anan took out his cell phone, took a photo of the scene, and updated it on Weibo. Xiangyi basically didn't post on Weibo, but Anan would occasionally post about her daily life. Hence, Many Spicy Tutu fans followed him. As soon as the photo was posted, it received more than 1,000 likes. Pretty girl and little kitten. Double critical hit. I can rub 10 of these kittens in a day. Xiao Naofu, you perverted cat. Its claws are actually on Sister Yi's chest. Sure Sui, Shuring D. Here's a cat wearing a green skullcap for you? The Spicy Tutu fans were sucking on the cat and licking the screen. Suddenly, some discordant comments appeared under the Weibo post. What does XY mean? Are you trying to intimidate us? Of all times, she chose to do it now. Who would believe that she didn't do it on purpose? Our pudding is a celebrity pet. It's not something that this kind of hybrid pastoral cat can compare to, okay? Anan was confused by the comments. What's wrong with these people? Do they have nothing better to do this early in the morning? Xiangyi tilted her head and frowned. What's the name of the cat in the shooting plan? Anan was slightly taken aback. He then made a video call to Si Chuanbai. When the call connected, Si Chuanbai seemed to be in the middle of a meeting. Dressed in a suit and leather shoes, he sat upright and raised an eyebrow at him. What's the matter? Mr. C, am I disturbing you? Anan felt a little guilty. Recently, every time he looked for Si Chuanbai would reply almost instantly, which gave him the illusion that Si Chuanbai was very free. That was why he boldly made the video call. Are you busy? I'll contact you later. Si Chuanbai, you're not disturbing me. Speak. Chapter 573. Anan briefly described what had happened. Si Chuanbai, on the other end of the video call, had a serious and cold expression, as if he was the head teacher who was supervising the primary school students, whether or not they were wearing a red scarf. In fact, in the conference room, everyone stared at Si Chuanbai, dumbfounded. This man, who was usually called a ruthless work machine, was now leaning back in his chair, twirling a black and gold pen between his fingertips. He was obviously relaxed and lazy. Everyone looked at each other. Something was wrong. Something must have happened. Was Mr. C video chatting with his girlfriend? Mr. C, that's probably what happened. Anan swallowed and lowered his head dejectedly. You can scold me. Si Chuanbai, why would I scold you? It's because I posted that photo, that's why Pudding's fans were so obedient. Pudding was an internet celebrity cat, and its owner was called Dummy. Its Weibo account and short video account had millions of fans. If you want to condemn someone, you can always find a pretext. Si Chuanbai pressed his forehead. Don't worry about it. I'll handle it. Anan, huh? That's it? He thought it was a big deal, but Mr. C downplayed it so casually. Si Chuanbai raised his eyebrows. Are you questioning my ability? The man's tone was quite meaningful. On the screen, little colored fur was panicking. It clumsily shook its head and stuttered. No. Mr. C is very, very good in every aspect. No one knew which sentence pleased Si Chuanbai, who was a glacier that never melted, but the corners of his mouth lifted slightly. Okay. Give the phone to Sister E. Okay. Anan gave the phone to Xiangyi. The smile in Si Chuanbai's eyes disappeared, and he returned to his usual cold and ruthless work mode. Some time ago, I just happened to study some examples of successful internet celebrities. Adai is one of them. Her success was not accidental, but inevitable. First, it's the packaging of the team behind it. Second, it's the persistent hype. Third, it's the constant abuse of the fans. After a pause, he said, I suspect that her cat is no longer the original cat. Xiangyi narrowed her eyes. But you don't have to worry about Sister E. I have a lot of dirt on her and her cat. If she continues to provoke us, we won't hold back. Sorry to trouble you, Mr. C. You're welcome. After hanging up, Xiangyi searched for Pudding's photo. It was a white ragdoll cat with fluffy fur and slightly folded ears. It had different colored pupils, one blue and the other yellow, like beautiful gemstones. Other popular cats were also chubby, but Pudding was especially chubby, almost beyond human understanding of cats. There were many cute cats, but they were all pretty much the same. A cat as unique as Pudding could be said to be one of a kind, so it had a large number of fans. Xiangyi's frown deepened. The shooting location for the advertisement was set at a homestay in the suburbs of Nanjing. This homestay was built in a Japanese style, and the main colors in the room were almost only wood and pure white, which looked particularly clean and fresh. When Xiangyi arrived, Dai had already been there for a long time and was holding a selfie stick and doing a live broadcast. "Thank you, Aunt Pudding, for the rainbow rain. Pudding can finally eat food today." Dai skillfully interacted with the fans. When she saw Xiangyi, she immediately exaggerated, "Wow, Sister E is here." Chapter 574. Dai trotted over to Xiangyi. "Hello, Sister E. I'm Dai." Xiangyi nodded in greeting. Smelling the faint catmint scent on Dai, she politely said, "Hello. This is my cat, Pudding. Today I'm going to work with Sister E. Thank you for taking care of me." Dai pointed to a cat bag not far away on the ground. The cat bag was round and adorable, with cartoon patterns printed on it. However, the cat bag was a little small for Pudding's size, and there were only 2 exhalations, the bottom and the front. Pudding's entire face was pressed against the transparent frame of the cat bag as it panted with difficulty. Its big face was slumped like a pancake, looking silly and adorable. The fans in Dai's livestream were all shouting, "Pudding is kawaii." Xiangyi frowned slightly and tactfully reminded, "Why don't you let Pudding out for some fresh air? It can also familiarize it with the filming environment." Dai said casually, "It's okay. Our Pudding is very obedient." Xiangyi. She was confused. Couldn't Dai tell that Pudding was already having trouble breathing? Meow, meow, meow. Xiao Naofu jumped out of the van and wandered around to play. Seeing how wild Xiangyi's cat was, a trace of disdain appeared in Dai's eyes. It was just a stray cat. How could it compare to her cat? However, when she saw the comments in the livestream, Dai began to panic. "Wow, that little kitten is so cute. This is what a macho man should be looking at. Whoa, it's so small, it's not even as big as my palm. I think a naughty cat is pretty good. Pudding is just too obedient. Sometimes, it does feel a little boring. How could this be?" Dai was a little flustered, afraid that Xiao Naofu would steal Pudding's limelight, so she interacted with the fans. "Then I'll let Pudding out. Let Pudding say hello to everyone." As soon as they heard that Pudding was coming out, the comments and tips in the livestream increased again. Dai opened the zipper of the cat bag, and the ragdoll cat couldn't wait to get out and take in big breaths of fresh air. "Pudding, come, let mommy hug you." Adele picked up Pudding with one hand, and the ragdoll skillfully hugged her neck and meowed at the phone screen. Dai's slender figure made Pudding look even fatter. It was as if she was hugging a piglet. The visual effect was particularly shocking. Our Pudding needs to go on a diet." Dai pretended to lament. "If you continue to be so fat, you'll become a kitten that no one likes." When the fans heard this, they all teased, "What kitten? It's clearly little Juju." "No, I don't think Pudding will look good if she's thin." "What do you mean by losing weight? It wasn't fat. It's just furry." Dai was about to say something when the director of today's commercial came and asked Pudding and Xiangyi to get to know each other. "Pudding, be good. Okay?" Dai instructed. The ragdoll cat seemed to have understood human nature as it reluctantly tugged at Dai's clothes, rubbing its little head against Dai's like a spoiled and clingy kitten. When Dai handed Pudding to Xiangyi, the originally docile ragdoll cat suddenly became violent. "Ow!" Pudding struggled, refusing to let Xiangyi hold her. Dai took Pudding back. "Ayaya, Pudding's personality is different from Sister Yi's cat. She's a little introverted and shy. Let me coax her first." Her words successfully provoked the anger of the fans. Chapter 575. The fans had always thought that Xiangyi's manager was being manipulative. Otherwise, why would she post a photo of Xiangyi petting the cat? She was just trying to replace Pudding with that mongrel cat. Yo, didn't XY say that she liked animals before? Now she's exposed herself, right? Exactly. I still remember when the photo of her feeding the deer came out. Everyone was bragging that she was a forest elf. It was hilarious. Pudding is such an obedient cat, yet it doesn't like Xiangyi. Shouldn't Xiangyi reflect on herself? Animals are intelligent. They know who will treat them well. The fans thought that they were speaking up for justice, but little did they know that they had become tools to be used. Pudding stuck to Dai and acted coquettishly for a long time. In the end, the director couldn't stand it anymore and reminded her. Only then did Dai repeatedly apologize and put Pudding on the ground. Pudding circled around her feet. After a while, the smell of catmint dissipated and it stopped. Xiangyi squatted down and gently stroked Pudding's neck and chin. She then fed it some dried fish, Xiao Naofu's favorite snack. She had brought a small bag with 5 or 6 strips in it. Pudding sniffed it first and its eyes widened. It then picked it up and ate happily. Xiao Naofu smelled it and ran over. It took 2 strips from Xiangyi's hands and nestled next to Pudding to eat. The contrast between the 2 cats was too strong. Pudding's tail was thicker than Xiao Naofu's head. Dai's live stream was still open. She wanted to take advantage of today's precious opportunity to stream more. Unexpectedly, a fan raised a question. I feel that this mongrel cat's body size is relatively normal. When Pudding was this big, it seemed to be several times bigger than this mongrel cat. Is it really okay to be so fat? Dai hurriedly tried to change the topic. She blinked innocently and said, Sister E, what brand of dried fish are you feeding me? It's packaged in a minimalist style. I've never seen it before. She was very skillful with her words, leading people's imaginations to wander. Minimalist style. Didn't it mean that the packaging was simple? How can you feed a cat like that? Pudding is a pedigree cat. She's already a celebrity. Is there a need to be so stingy? If you want to buy some branded cat snacks. Even Dai hasn't seen this brand before. God, what is Xiangyi feeding Pudding with? Just as the fans were adding scenes for themselves, the director came over and fed Pudding a piece of dried fish. He was also a cat lover. He usually kept a straight face, but whenever he saw a kitten, he would smile until his eyes narrowed into slits. Sister E, this dried fish of yours is from LP, right? TSK. How extravagant. Dai's heart thumped as she laughed dryly. LP? Is it expensive? The director said confidently, that is the most prestigious brand in the cat snacks industry. Previously, it was the exclusive brand of the royal family of Country E and Country R, but now it was only available to the public for a limited time. Look, with this small bag of dried fish, you can buy dozens of caddies of D brand jerky. D brand was one of the more popular cat food brands in the country. Apart from the high price of cat food, the jerky and canned food were also very expensive. Dai? The fans? What the hell? How could such an ordinary and mediocre dried fish be a luxury brand? Some people didn't believe it and went to check the price, only to be instantly stunned. What kind of family did Xiangyi come from? How could she afford such expensive dried fish? Chapter 576. Not only were the fans in Dai's live broadcast room dumbfounded, but Dai herself was also dumbfounded. Even if you have money, you shouldn't spend it like this. It's just a cat, after all, an animal. How can it eat better than humans? Hihi. Sister E is really generous. Dai ran her fingers through her hair, her whole body overflowing with the fragrance of a lotus. But I think it's better to know your limits when it comes to raising pets. Everything goes too far, Xiangyi said lightly. I didn't buy it, my uncle bought it. He dotes on Xiao Naofu, so I usually cook it myself. Dai. Who didn't know that Xiangfeng was a domineering CEO? Of course, he could buy whatever he wanted. It wasn't worth it for anyone to tell him what to do. Dai was angry and jealous. She even fantasized about how great it would be if she was Xiangfeng's little niece. However, the director became interested. Sister E, what do you usually cook for yourself? Is it very troublesome? Xiangyi shared the recipe. Just boiled salmon, chicken breast, prawns, and the like. Occasionally, I'll cook some other meat. It's better for kittens to eat meat as their staple food. Pumpkins, carrots, and sweet potatoes can also be steamed and mixed. These foods are rich in fiber. If possible, you can also feed them cabbage, lettuce, and so on. These can replenish the kitten's vitamins and minerals, but they must be cooked. Fastidious, too fastidious. The director sighed, feeling that he couldn't neglect Dai too much. So he asked, Ah, Dai, you've raised a cat for so long. You must have a lot of experience, right? Ah, Dai said pitifully. Sister E is really amazing, but I'm usually too busy to cook, so I usually mainly feed them cat food and canned cat food. I'm so envious that Sister E can take care of Xiao Naofu so well. The director was also a shrewd person. He faintly heard Adai's praise and criticism, so he vaguely laughed. It's good. It's good. All right, everyone get ready. Let's start shooting. The set had been set up in advance. It was a warm and beautiful living room with bright windows and clean tables. With the help of orange lighting, it created just the right amount of warmth. Xiangyi changed her clothes and came over. She wore a clean purple sweater paired with a white long skirt, looking incomparably gentle. With the help of the dried fish, Pudding was now very friendly to Xiangyi. She would even take the initiative to rub against Xiangyi and act like a spoiled child. However, when the staff took out the prepared snail powder, the strong smell somehow stimulated Pudding. Pudding became extremely agitated and even scratched Xiangyi. Rip! The sleeves of Xiangyi's knitted sweater were torn by Pudding's claws. The director repeatedly reminded Adai to turn off the live stream, but Adai pretended not to hear him and shamelessly continued. Seeing this scene, Adai exclaimed, Sister E, don't scare Pudding. Xiangyi, which eye of yours saw me scaring it? However, Pudding's fans didn't care about that. Is this woman crazy? Why are you scaring our Pudding baby? XY, do you think Pudding is your cat? It's very delicate. You can't treat it as you wish. Pudding obviously hates Xiangyi. Can't you replace Xiangyi? Otherwise, I won't watch this commercial. I'll never place an order for snail powder either. Adai blinked her eyes and used the 10th level of Lotus speech. I'm sorry. It's all Pudding's fault. How about we replace Pudding? The director pondered for a moment. Okay. Adai was stunned. Huh. The director happily decided. Change it to Xiao Naofu. Adai? Chapter 577. Adai was dumbfounded. Wait, why is this so different from what I thought? Shouldn't the director be coaxing and flattering Pudding? Why is he letting Xiao Naofu take the lead? Pudding's fans were also dumbfounded. In the past, Adai had also live-streamed Pudding taking on other commercial promotions. Which brand hadn't doted on Pudding? Why was it being treated like this today? The fans were furious. Change Pudding? Why? Does that stupid cat deserve it? This is simply an open and above-board conspiracy. The director is flattering the powerful and stepping on the weak. Isn't it just because he's a good judge of character that he used her cat? He's too stupid. He has no idea how much purchasing power we have. Pudding had once endorsed a brand of cat food, and the fans had created a miracle of selling out in 10 seconds. They had always been proud of it and often used it as a topic of conversation. Adai reacted and said eagerly, Director, how can you change it just like that? The director said bluntly. With all due respect, Pudding can't be filmed in its current state. Instead of seeing it in so much pain, it's better to take it to the pet hospital. The most important thing now is Pudding's physical condition. Pudding can do it. Adai was anxious. It really can. The director waved his hand and hurriedly went to communicate with Xiao Naofu. He tried to give Xiao Naofu a few simple instructions and was surprised to find that Xiao Naofu was very human-like. Although it wasn't obedient, it was rebellious. Especially when he lay on the ground and stuck his butt out to tease Xiao Naofu. The little cat would look at him with disdain and contempt. Not only was it cute, but it was also very funny. Adai stood there at a loss for what to do. Pudding meowed on the ground, looking like it was in extreme pain. Adai was very annoyed and wanted to kick it. Xiangyi looked deeply at the selfie stick in her hand. Even though Pudding was in so much pain, Adai still didn't stop the live stream. She leaned over and rubbed the back of Pudding's neck comfortingly. The fans in the live stream shouted, Let go of Pudding! What do you want to do to her? There were also some rational fans who typed, What's wrong with Adai? Pudding is in so much pain. Why is she just standing there? Xiangyi, on the other hand, seems to care a lot about Pudding. Adai was currently upset. When she saw this comment, She casually blacklisted the person. That fan was kicked out of the live broadcast room, and his head was filled with question marks. What the hell? What was there to hide? Xiangyi knelt on the floor. After putting Calm down, she rubbed its belly. Suddenly, an unforeseen event occurred. Pudding retched twice and began to vomit. This scene stabbed the hearts of countless fans. Whoa, what's wrong with our pudding? King threw a gas can at Xiangyi. What did she do to Pudding? Pudding's condition wasn't that serious just now. It was all Xiangyi's fault. Pudding became like this after she touched it. Dai seized the opportunity and said, Sister E, what did you do to Pudding? Pudding is fine. Why did she throw up? This method of shirking responsibility could be said to have been used to perfection. Xiangyi glanced at her and said indifferently, I should be asking you that question.